Live. And we're live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. John, take it from here.
Boom, boom. Third time's a charm. So what we were talking about is
Setting expectations accordingly.
Eddie's
skepticism
Ellie
of
is a
sales.
harsh
Skepticism.
critic. Ellie's a harsh critic. So what were the elements again? That it takes proof, evidence.
Reviews, testimony, and I want to not just see reviews that could be fake. I want to actually talk to someone who used that person's business and had the experience.
You are so ridiculous.
So reviews, it depends on how much money I'm investing, obviously, but reviews is one thing. Guarantees, data. I want to see data. Okay, if you really did this, XYZ, let me see what you've done for your clients, right? Let me see the proof in the pudding. Let me see the data. And then listening, authenticity first, and then also listening, and really that they're listening to what your needs are, not just trying to push, sell.
Right. So there's so many fascinating things in what you shared. First and foremost, you're right. But it depends on what the vehicle is, right? So like for
Yeah, it
example,
depends.
if you are a surgeon,
Yes.
there is a certain degree of expectation that you will provide a medical service and there is an outcome that has to be fulfilled. But when we're talking about people, that's when things get a little bit different. We're talking about people, we're talking about behaviors, and we're talking about mind control, right? When you're trying to get somebody to buy something, we cannot control people's minds. But I think what a lot of people don't understand about marketing is not about a guaranteed outcome as much as it is having a marketing scientist that can get on the ground level with you and say, okay, if you have all of these systems in place, you are in a much better position to succeed than you currently are with the information that you have.
And that's valid as long as the person is marketing themselves that way. So if they say,
Right.
look, I can't offer you guarantees, but here's what I will give you. I'm going to help you set up your website. I'm going to get your email list, and we're going to get more people.
And I can guarantee
these
attention.
are the reasons why.
Right.
Like it's just really showing. Again, that's data, right? That's data. What are you actually getting? Because I've seen so many offers that when you ask that, I've asked that question of, let me see the data. What's the offer? And then they pivot and then go, you're just a negative thinker and you don't know how to manifest and you're just stuck in your own way. No, I'm practical and smart.
Right. There's a gray area, right? Because
Right.
sometimes they legitimately don't realize that
But I've seen that, and then and you have to buy it in the next 24 hours. Those people are usually
Right.
the same people that are saying this offer only lasts for 24 hours, like every time verbatim. And I'm really good, I think, now at reading
I think
people and reading those offers.
the best ones, and this is for anybody that's considering a marketing offer or whatever. Okay, there's a couple of things that you have to look out for. Number one, nobody. So shut the fuck up and stop doing it. Okay, I'm tired of it. Nobody is gonna take 3% after we start generating leads from you. Fuck you. We need some money at the top of I need money to work with to start your process. So you have to invest a little bit up front. So number one, anybody that says, oh, well, once I start generating business, I'll give you a little bit of it. Fuck you. You're insulting me as a professional.
You for 1 second?
Yes.
So if you're a professional and you've had clients and all of that,
Right.
absolutely. However, if you are someone that's starting off and you're brand new, I don't think there's any harm in saying, here, let me give you a couple hours of my time, show you what I can do for free. And I really have seen results from that, from my own personal business of going to events and volunteering. And I get leads after that because they see what I can do, right?
24-hour podcasts are a great way of giving value to many for free.
Yeah. Yep.
Without, doing consulting for free, because this is where it gets messy. And this is what I've experienced. When I've done dozens of these kinds of projects over the last 2 years where I get into these agreements, but here's what you can't control. When that person becomes unmotivated, because I can take them to a certain point, but if they don't take the actions after that, they are insulting my work.
Yes.
Right? Because now I consulted them, and that's when you get assholes. There are people that are always asking for advice, but then they never actually do anything.
That's
So
my
the way to
pet
protect,
peeve.
Guys, it's
Yeah.
all about the execution.
yeah. So the way to protect
Sure.
yourself is take a little bit. You don't have to take a lot. Take a little bit just to value your own time, and then say, "Hey, I'll split it with you after."
For sure. Okay, it looks like we're ready for Darren, our next guest. He is actually here right now with us. Hi, Darren.
Magic.
Personal branding community.
Whoa, I didn't even know that you were coming on, and I like the hat right off the bat. I like
Thank you.
So I don't even know. I'm Ellie Santra, by the way. Let's all introduce ourselves. Manny.
I'm Manny Manavgoli. Nice to meet you, Mr. Darren.
Hello.
Most marketing man in the world.
Love that.
So tell us a little bit about you, Darren.
I am Darren. I'm a guy that wears goofy hats and turned that into a brand on LinkedIn. Crazy,
No
huh?
way.
Yeah.
So
But
the hat.
no,
thing,
I have a background in the corporate world, which was neither fun. Well, it was fun for a while, but not exciting. And I took that exit, did a couple M&As, and here I am.
I think this is going to be really good energy already because Manny. Well, actually, I don't know if I should say this on the air. So let's just say
I'll say it.
Your
I've heard a
story-
couple of things
your
already.
story resenates with what he's about to do. So I
building
think
something
you
big, my
guys
friend.
like need to maybe you can learn
off.
from his experience.
100%.
Yeah.
So, Darren, what made you make the jump?
I sold a business. I started the business after I got tired of working for someone, earning them a lot of bonus, but not
Oh,
as much
wow.
in my world. You
Sounds
know, the
familiar,
80 hours a
guys.
week, it's not fair type of bullshit. And I said I could do it better. Started my own thing. And 10 years later to the day, I sold it to a Fortune 500 company. And in a weird twist of fate, I ran that company and I hated every moment of it. So
So what
There.
was the field that you were in?
I was in telecommunications. It is a really exciting industry. Everyone just racing to get in there. Lots of chicks from that one. And
Businesses pay. Boring businesses pay.
that is true, right? And
John says.
I found some holes, some voids, some niches that needed to be created. And I took it my way. And my way was really just about being there for the client, never saying no. Customer's not a number.
Mm.
And filling in that need for the client against the big bad telecom companies, and it worked. 10 years later, we sold it to this big huge entity, and I joined forces.
So tell us now. So you said you were bored, obviously, and then so your transition. What are you doing exactly now then?
So now I started a community with my partner Nat Berman. We have figured out LinkedIn. We teach and educate entrepreneurs and founders the power of LinkedIn and the connectivity of LinkedIn. And then we focus heavily on business coaching because everyone should be able to afford a business coach who actually has experience, but not everyone can actually afford to pay for that.
I
coach.
want to pick your brain because
Very
so
interesting.
I don't know where you're based. Where are you based?
I am in New Jersey.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah, not
Woo!
too far from
got
New York
Philly
City.
in the house. We got New York in the
Long
house.
Island's
There
in
you
the
go.
house. Strong Island, baby.
Yeah,
I was-
where in New Jersey? North.
Well, I was born and
Central?
raised in Long Island. I couldn't wait to get
Oh.
out.
Oh my God! Shameless plug. Plainview, Old Bethpage. Woo!
I was from North Belmore, the other side of the tracks.
There you go.
Is that how you know Jason?
Maybe. Actually, I think he knows my business partner, Nat Berman. So
Oh, okay. Because Jason's from Long Island too. so
yeah, he's
It
from
runs
the same
deep down
town.
here, guys.
I've never actually been to Long Island. Fun fact. Isn't that crazy?
Well,
Like
we
I've
got
been to New York so many times, but never
Oh my
Long Island.
God.
It's a great
missing
place,
so
but you're
much
not
of
missing
Philly
much.
girl, born and bred.
She's missing so much Long Island culture and our bagels and some of the best
I
sushi
mean,
you'll get. And
Bagels,
some of the best
you
wine.
get bagels in New York, like New
Yeah.
York, New York. I don't need Long Island bagels.
Well, Long Island is a special breed in itself.
Yeah, it's
The
called
water
Bagel
is
Boss.
different, right? Yes, John. The water is different.
This is true.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay. I got it.
I'll die on this hill, guys.
Okay, so
Be skeptical.
I'm skeptical, but I'm also like really a dreamer and believe in magic. So it's confusing. Like you've seen where I sometimes will just be like, yes, this psychic is 100% accurate. Like I'm all about it. And then I'm like very skeptical. at the same time. Anyway, so we were talking about your business, Long Island. Oh, yes. Okay, I remember. So coaching. So South Florida, I'm a musician. That's like what I've always done forever. And I'm only recently like I decided I didn't want to do music full time the way that I was doing it. So I started working at Owwll on a whim, and it's been great. But I am new to this whole. I came to South Florida, started going to these events in Miami, Boca, Lauderdale, and this whole coaching world. And you know, the starts, I guess, with Tony Robbins, but PBD and all these people, and it's no offense to anyone, but like it feels almost a little culty to me. And I go to these events and everyone is very, very similar mindset. I don't mind the mindset because they have a growth mindset, but
Yes.
like part of me, I'm like, how did all these people get all this money? And like, is it a pyramid scheme? And are they all just like paying each other? And then it's like thousands of dollars to even get into this secret weird clique group. And so when you said affordable, my eyes went lit up with hearts, right? So like I'm just curious your take on that whole world, and is it legit? And also like how does your offer differ from those worlds, which I'm sure you're familiar with?
Yeah. So you touched on a lot of topics there, and
Yeah,
they're
sorry.
all
Just
they're
had
all
my
true.
coffee. I'm ADD
'Cause
right now. Okay.
your opinion is absolutely right. It seems like everybody is a coach now,
Mhm.
right? We all work from home. We all, thank you, COVID, right? We're all working in our homes. A lot of people have side hustles. Those side hustles turned into the mentality of, you know what, boss, screw you. I'm going to do this on my own, which means you became a coach or a 1099, right? So I think the biggest economic segment you'll find on LinkedIn these days is I'm a performance coach. I'm a, physical coach. I am a business coach. I'm a Salesforce coach. They're everywhere. So how
Even
do you discern?
therapists, not to
Yeah.
interrupt you, I'm sorry. Even like I know therapists that were saying like they didn't like the system, right? And they didn't like the way that the health insurance was working and their limited abilities. So now they're wellness coaches, but they're really were licensed therapists. So it's just interesting, this whole world. And I try to explain it to my friends who just like have normal jobs and they're like, what is this weird event you're going to? And like, what is this world? And I'm like, can't really explain it. You just have to go and see for yourself. But anyway, continue. Sorry
Yeah,
about
well, so I call myself a business therapist, and I work with small business owners, founders, entrepreneurs, the wantrepreneur, the person sitting at a desk staring at a glass trophy and wondering why their life is so depressing, right? I help them get out of the head trash that blocks them from success. So I started that after my exit. I was like the day after I exited in the Fortune 500 in 19, and that was my relevance. That was my importance. Unfortunately, COVID came in and filled my own head with all this negative trash. And I just said, fuck it. Why am I working? I might as well survive in my own jail like everyone else.
that.
And that led to a spiraling depression. And then I took to LinkedIn, and that's where I found a whole sea of coaches. So how was I going to stand out if everyone else was a coach? And, created a podcast. I hiked up a mountain. I took some successful people with me, and one of them was my business partner. I didn't know it at the time, but we were bonding on the same shit, right? Showing up every day and
Was this
running in
mountain
late.
thing? Was this like a program, or you just like got people together and hiked up a mountain?
Yeah, I had a podcast called I Took a Hike, and I took really
Oh.
successful business leaders and achievers. And the magic of being open in nature, right? The sights, the sounds, trying not to stumble and smash your face on a rock or a cobra. There are no cobras, but whatever. That has a really good way of opening someone up for just pure and true, unfiltered conversation, along with the fact that I've interviewed thousands of people. So I take you there and I start exploring, and we start to learn the real deal behind things. So, for example, one of my guests was the last and final CEO of Blockbuster, the guy who
I
closed
miss
Blockbuster.
Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Friday nights.
Wait, was that you? I was talking to the other night. He was over. We were working on my website.
Yep.
And I was like, I wish we could go to Blockbuster right now. Like,
Oh my god,
literally.
wasn't it such a nice
It was
experience?
so fun.
It was the
Oh
most
my God, like,
amazing
such a
experience.
great Friday night. Like the kids these days
Ugh,
don't understand. Oh my
understand.
God, I'm so old now. I'm like the kids these days. Anyway, continue.
Well, you're absolutely true. So there
That's
was
awesome.
something
That's
that,
so
well,
cool.
we romanticize going to the store, but it was an experience. It was, you would get
Yeah.
up, get dressed up in your pajamas or whatever you wore. You would go, you'd buy your
The
popcorn there.
candy.
Yeah. It was a fun experience. Now we just turn everything on and poof, and your
Well,
kids.
I
can play
realized,
and
no,
cry.
this is what the convo was because we were talking about, we are like, let's watch something. And there's so much to watch that I just end up watching the commercials and I can't decide. So then I'm just watching like previews for 3 hours and then just fall asleep and there's no movie. Whereas like Blockbuster, you just go in, you look at the front of the box and you're just like, this one
looks
and then you
good.
do
Yeah.
it. And it's not the power. Is it paradox of choice where there's like too many choices
Correct.
and you can't analysis paralysis,
Analysis
whatever. I can't think of the
paralysis, I like
term,
that.
but where you're just like, it's everywhere now with the unlimited, with dating, with literally everything, just too many options.
I think there are too many options, especially when you're streaming, right? Like I go on a doom scroll sometimes just trying to find what to watch. Right now is Halloween season's around the corner, so all the horror movies are here. There's a plethora of horror movies right now. So that was a shameless plug-in for horror movies fans.
And then
And
here's
back to you, back to you.
Back to you,
and
Darren.
then
You are the star.
Well, I'm just hanging on the fact you said plethora. Do you know what a plethora means? No, that actually predates you.
Wait, I always say plethora. So I'm actually a meditation teacher as well. So everything you're saying, like mental health, nature, really resonates with me. But I always, when I'm explaining it and even doing meditations, I'm like, a plethora, because I think it sounds just like really nice to the ear. And so that's one of my words. So that's how we're connected again. Like,
Always
we're
connected.
always connected. We
Yeah,
just met yesterday and we have too many synchronicities. Like it's wild.
weird.
okay, so I gotta
Okay.
throw in the weird shit, right? Because it just
Absolutely.
sounds, the conversation.
Wait. Okay, before you go on your tangent, can we just finish? Because I just want Darren to like finish his story because we
The
will
blockbuster
all
story.
talk over each other and like interrupt.
But
each
it was
other.
related.
I know, but like
I don't want to miss my
I don't
point.
want to be rude because he's
I'm
our
not going to
guest.
go. No,
He's
but
our
it's.
guest.
He's a part of the tangent.
Okay, fine.
All right, so let's all hop on the tangent train.
Okay, go.
Choo choo. Let's head over here, okay? So, we're talking about Blockbuster, right? And we're talking about like how much, but like what I want to talk about is the rose-colored glasses, okay? Because like as much as I missed the Blockbuster experience, like we also forget like we had to drive there. That's a step. And then like when you get to the Blockbuster store, we forget so quickly. Nice glasses,
The rose-colored glasses.
black-colored glasses.
Yeah.
How many times were you at a Blockbuster and then that movie that you really, really wanted to see
Wasn't there.
wasn't there?
But then I'm like, oh well.
But it's because we tend to only remember the good memories and then we forget about the 15 times
And
we
then
went to Blockbuster.
when you get fined
and
for the
they didn't
late
have
movie-
that Mary Kate and Ashley, DVD that you
Sleepover
really-
party movie.
right? Like
Yeah.
that you really wanted to see. So yeah, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but it's like that is a thing, guys.
No,
Just think
obviously there's
about it.
pros and cons.
It's like,
to
do we
everything.
really miss Blockbuster that
Well,
much?
don't you wish?
If it was there tomorrow, would you support
don't
it?
you wish you could just go back for one day? Remember, we always talk
Okay,
about
yeah,
this?
yes, I would
So,
totally go
Like
back.
you just are like, we talk about this all the time. How like I'm like, don't you wish you could just like date your ex for one day?
Well,
again,
that's not what
just
she said.
experience it? Like,
Exactly, but yes.
anyway, but like, don't you wish like just to be like, oh, that was fun, even though you know it's toxic, right? So then.
Right.
Like it's just the same thing.
Not
Like,
me,
don't you
though.
wish you could go back to the 90s for just like a couple days and just like experience it?
To
and then
realize like
back?
how much it probably
Touch
sucks.
grass, guys.
No,
You know?
My friend and I, we used to do this thing where we would go on, we'd like, it's a 90s day and we'd go on a bike ride and leave our phones at home.
Speaking of tangents,
And then, like-
now like Ellie's talking about her
Okay,
childhood.
Go. What were you
Yeah,
saying?
good job.
Hey, can Darren hop
All right,
back in?
Darren.
Darren, 15 minutes
It's
uninterrupted.
your turn,
please.
Darren.
Yeah, rose colored.
No,
Tell us
this
about
is
your business.
this is entertaining. As a person who has ADHD, I'm just sitting back and I've got a
I think
popcorn
we
bucket
all
here
have
ready to
some
go.
sort of.
Oh yeah, this is a chemical. Yes.
This is like blood and what do we say, baking soda, guys? We're all just exploding right now.
We could rail a bottle of Adderall in about 20 minutes.
Oh,
You could, okay. Anyway,
Well, I'll take 20 of the pills. You take the other 10 between you two.
okay, go.
I hope the X
Darren.
stars,
Back
guys.
to Darren, our guest.
Yeah. So where was I? ADHD.
You were like
hiking,
walking up a
Blockbuster.
hill,
No, you
hiking.
were telling us about
Yeah,
how your
Blockbuster.
last
The
client
CEO
was
of
the CEO of
Blockbuster, yeah.
Blockbuster.
Yeah, the last
Yes.
Very good
store.
memory, guys. I'll keep
So-
everybody on track. I talk a lot too, but go ahead.
So
Darren.
his name is James Keys or Jim Keys. He's an awesome human being, and he tells the story of what really happened with Blockbuster. Now, lots of people have heard this story but never paid attention until my show. And then when they came on my show, they got to hear the real story. Netflix did not put Blockbuster out of business. There was not even a close chance.
Hmm.
When people are looking back with rose-colored glasses, right, there's a delusion where we skip timelines.
Right.
Netflix didn't have a streaming business when they were selling to
They
Blockbuster.
were mailing CDs.
Yeah.
I remember
And
that.
I remember
Blockbuster
that,
already
yeah.
had
You
a
were allowed to order
streaming
I
5
ordered
at a
them.
time.
And you could
Yeah.
couldn't you order them online or something ahead of
Yeah,
time?
they revolutionized it. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
They essentially created it. They
Yep.
created that market segment, and they did a great job with it. But when they were trying to sell their business, they were trying to sell it for $50 million. That's a
Mm.
rounding error. They were going to go out of business. If you look at all of the publicity from back then, it was talking about capital raising. So Netflix almost went out of business. But if Blockbuster had acquired them, one, Blockbuster already had a streaming service, and it was through a company called Enron. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
Boy.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was an issue for Blockbuster. But if Blockbuster had acquired Netflix, you wouldn't be talking about it right now. It wouldn't exist. Blockbuster would have just done nothing with it. It would have just
Mm.
fizzled.
Mm.
Netflix had nothing to do with Blockbuster at all. Right. And I'm not here to preach all that, but it's just these are the lessons that you learn from people when you actually have a dialogue and get to know the real them. Now, this story has been told before, but people will naysay it. They won't believe it because we choose to pick what we believe. And much like creating a personal brand, that's what we do. We choose to get people to believe what we want them to believe, if done right. If you want to create a personal brand, being a guy who wears hats every day, you gain a lot of attention that way if you only talk about hats and a personal brand wrapped around hats. That was a good segue, huh?
I really liked what you said about getting to actually have a real conversation with this man, because I feel like that also segues to Owwll and our whole app, which is like, rather than reading someone's copy online and wondering, are they real deal? Are they scammer? You can just, for as cheap as $1, call this person up and pick their brain and network with them and get the real deal story. And a lot of times people will tell you the truth, like even if they are this quote unquote looking like a big influencer, and then they might say, I actually don't make any money from this. And you find out the real information, where if you're trying to do what they're doing, you can get the real facts and then make your business decisions. So that's why I'm obsessed with Owwll. But it's just, it really, like, the human connections, what you're saying, and being in nature, and like that is all so lost right now with the way that social media is.
I want to ask you a question.
Actually, that's going back to there's no more people on this earth.
Yeah. So Darren, the question that I wanted to ask you is because it's very like relevant to what I do, so I'd love your opinion on this. When we're like around a lot of men specifically, it can be a little bit challenging, at least on the forefront, to like say, okay, like how am I going to get this person to open up to me? So what are some of the things that you do to create some safety for the person so that they feel like, okay, I can open up to Darren, I can be safe sharing these vulnerabilities with Darren so that he can kind of get more into my world? How do you do that?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. Being a man, having a conversation with another man that I met for the first time is extremely difficult because we still are really guarded in who we
Yes.
are, right?
Yes.
Even though we talk about emotions, we don't really talk or
Right.
embrace about emotions very often.
Right.
And it's hard to have that conversation. So usually people resort to the first thing of, what do you do? Well, that's the worst question you can ever ask anyone at any period or time. Why?
It's
Because they're
measurement.
going to tell you that they're an attorney. And right there, you just made every joke in your head and you just wrote them off, right? Sorry, attorneys, but you need new material.
Right.
So the best way to get someone to open up to you is just be a freaking human being, right?
Yes.
Know where you are. So if I'm at like a daycare dropping off one of my kids, I'm going to joke about how crazy children are, how much they grind my gears, how annoying they are. I'll make some humor out of it. And right there, once you get someone to smile, you've made a connection. I don't care what you do, because at the end of the day, what you do, you walk and breathe on this earth. What you do to hunt for food or money, that's not my concern. That doesn't make up who you are, in my opinion. But if I can relate with you on the fact that kids are really annoying at times, or that we're at this stupid party that we don't want to be at, or you'll hear lots of men throw around sports quotes as if they heard it for the first time and they created it, right? They're just regurgitating some Mike and Mike show. That's how we bond. but it's around building that first smile and always asking questions. The best interview that you can ever give is one where you ask questions on a real level. What do you like to do for fun? Oh, I see you have a guitar in the background. What kind of songs do you play? What kind of music do you like?
Yeah, I like that, Darren. You're being personable.
Yeah.
My actual mentor, who made me the man I am today, actually gave me a really nice piece of advice, especially when I'm soliciting. I do walk-in sales, right? So when I walk into a kitchen design center, for example, because I sell building materials and I'm representing, I'm a mercenary, so I'm a 1099, but I'm representing, a brand. That being said, I always end on a joke. They always remember you, and always a nice smile. You always want to make people feel good. Everyone just wants to be heard. Everyone wants validation. And at the end of the day, just be a human, right, Darren? As you just said, just be a human. It's about making that human connection. And that's what I think a lot of people don't do. Make that connection. And I really like that you touched upon that. If you want to expound upon more, we'd be more than happy. Our listeners would be very, very, this is intuitive knowledge that, again, I think is invaluable.
Yeah, well, so I'll give a plug for Owwll because I've only been using Owwll since yesterday when I was invited to be on this show. And I love the concept. And in the 5 calls I've had already, they've been 5 calls that are far more connecting than the last year on LinkedIn. Because on LinkedIn,
hey,
look
look at
5 calls,
that.
man.
Where's the claps?
Yeah.
there you go.
Hats off.
And I'll preface this by saying I don't work for and I'm not sponsored by Owwll, just in case anyone's like, oh, well, that guy sucks. No, but I've had 5 real conversations and it reminded me of old school. You guys had mentioned before, you get to know people when they're off guard and real and they're having a conversation. That's when people can't be fake. The words come out of their mouth because it went from their brain to their mouth. Very quick.
Exactly.
synapse,
That's
right?
such a great point.
Everything online is curated. I do the same thing. Every CV, that's what the cool kids call a resume. It's a throwback. Every CV is fictitious bullshit. It's all contrived. Half of them, 90% of them are written through a GPT.
Right.
That's not real. If you had one employee, you didn't lead a team of, but your resume says that you led a team of. The real conversation is in the connection, right? Even deeper when you meet face to face. But now we've gotten away from that. So in a way, Owwll's a throwback to the times when real connections took place. And in the 5 calls that I've had, I've already had them connect with me on LinkedIn. They're checking out my community brand built online. They're having follow-ups with me. I must have gotten at least 100 connection or follow requests this morning alone on LinkedIn. I don't know a single one of them.
I'm curious.
I'm really impressed.
Yeah, I'm curious. I guess obviously it sounds like you have a lot of experience on LinkedIn, and just for my own selfish personal branding reasons, I'm gonna ask you, like, I am on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I am singer-songwriter with a heart-centered approach, right? And so I'm wondering, like, obviously LinkedIn is a lot of business driven, entrepreneurial, sales, blah, blah, blah. So what, I don't know if you have any tips on just like how to break into LinkedIn as this like singer songwriter, where my goal is, exposure, getting people to listen to my original music, but also booking gigs and private events. I do jingles for people. I write jingles for businesses. So just like, I mean, I'm used to the Instagram, TikTok world, but like, if you have any advice on the LinkedIn side of things.
Yeah, for sure. So everybody should have a LinkedIn, right? Forget about that. It's old and it's a little dusty, right? Microsoft owns it. Woohoo, yay, archaic, whatever. It's a necessity, right? Now, what you do, Instagram and TikTok will spread your voice further. But you just said you write jingles for businesses. Well, every single person, up to 1 billion people on LinkedIn, have at least one ear.
Yeah.
Right? Most have 2, which means they're listening. And if you're writing great content, you're showing up every day, you are responding in your comments, that's building connections. You're following up in the DMs, you are now able to sell your product, whatever it is, whether it's you're a coach or you're writing jingles for businesses or whatever. If you want to have a business style transaction, it happens on LinkedIn. No other social media platform has that power.
So
Now,
I guess like it's kind of hard because I do want to like make some jingles for people, but like I guess if my main goal is, yes, I want some business, but it's more of like the biggest goal is I want like people to listen to my
Ellie,
music.
do you want to hack, Ellie? Is that what you're asking for?
Yeah, because it's confusing
You're
for me
asking
because
for a hack?
I feel like so many people on LinkedIn are selling like a product.
Let me
or a
give you the
service.
hack, Ellie. Let me
No,
give
but
you
I'm
what
like,
you're
how do I
asking.
just get them to like listen to my music and not necessarily sell them something?
well, there's no hack for hard work. I will tell you that. I
Yeah.
don't care what platform you are on,
Yeah.
but you have to put in the work to be successful. Now, you can hire. So, when it comes to Instagram and TikTok, unless you are a beautiful face doing something death defying or have $1 million budget, you're not getting anywhere from the ground up anymore. Right? You're already
Ellie,
beaten.
can I give you a
You're
hack?
dead on and roadkill.
Finish.
But
Yeah.
on LinkedIn, anybody can
Mhm.
start off with zero and quickly grow a network.
Okay.
But with what you want to do, if your passion isn't selling corporate jingles,
Yeah.
then LinkedIn isn't the platform you want to put your attention to.
Right.
You have
Like
to
it's
focus on one thing.
right. It's something I do for like extra money, but like it's not the end goal, you know? So like,
So just like a waiter or a waitress who's an actress or an actor,
yeah.
they end up spending most of their time waiting tables. That big
Right.
break doesn't just come calling anymore. You're not going to
Yeah.
accidentally serve Martin Scorsese and he's going to notice you.
Right. Yeah.
That
No.
doesn't happen anymore.
I
So
lived in LA. I did that. I
yeah.
know.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So if you really want to be published and you want to get your music out there, then you work with the platform. You put in all of your effort in making that happen. Because if you're focused on many things at once, you can't succeed at all of them.
Yeah.
And you're distracting yourself from the one thing you need to do the most, and that's
Totally.
hustle towards your goal.
So are you saying that like you were saying like LinkedIn wouldn't be the platform for me then? Because I'm not really trying
Yeah,
to reach business owners like
you should have a profile. It should be well organized. You should have a nice banner, a nice profile picture, a good about me. You should be discoverable because when you Google your name, unless some famous person already has your name, number one is usually LinkedIn. Remember, it's a Microsoft product. So when you Google my name, there's very few other Darren Masses out there. You Google my name, the first search result is going to be LinkedIn. The second, LinkedIn. The third, maybe a company exit. The fourth, LinkedIn. It's the most powerful
What do
SEO
you think
that you
of
could have for
this,
your name.
though? Like, if we wanted to generate leads on LinkedIn for corporate events, then my strategy would be, I would think, okay, corporate jingles, that's kind of complicated. She'd have to write a lot of music, right? But what does LinkedIn have that is different than every other social platform that would give her an unfair advantage? And it would be easy for her to generate leads. And I just thought of it right now. What does LinkedIn announce every year? Two things: your birthday and your job celebration. So what Ellie's going to do is she's going to find a bunch of CEOs and she's going to sing them happy birthday and she's going to send them a video on LinkedIn, or she'll post it, one of the two. And then I guarantee one of those people that you sing happy birthday for with your voice is going to book you for a corporate
Am I
event.
going to be dressed as Marilyn Monroe?
You should.
Just talking about that last
should.
night.
If you dressed
Whoa.
up as Marilyn Monroe, like, do you think this could work, Darren? Like, if she sent every time she got a notification, it was somebody's birthday, CEO, whatever, C-suite. She's saying them happy birthday, dressed like Marilyn Monroe, whatever. Do you think she could generate some leads?
Well, so I was waiting to see what you were going to say. I'm like, there's no way what you're going to say is going to make sense for this, but that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I will say now I wouldn't do.
Totally different.
I-
I'll tell you, he's
I
one of
would
the-
not do the Marilyn Monroe dress. I would take
a little too
That's just-
sexual for LinkedIn.
That's just me. I'm a little spicy.
Yeah.
I've been divorced twice. Sorry, guys.
so LinkedIn
Fair-
is still stuffy. It's got to be safe for work. It's still
Yeah.
HR, right?
That's
But you can
yeah.
you can toe the line just a little. Like I wear hats. You wouldn't be seen dead wearing any one of these hats in a corporate world, but I do because I can, and it's my thing, right?
It's a little
My
edge.
partner
to it.
wears t-shirts. You wouldn't wear a
Right.
t-shirt in a corporate office in Sarasota.
Well,
right?
now it's different, but yeah.
No, but
Maybe-
even you're not showing up in a Fortune 5X or whatever 100
Yeah.
company wearing a t-shirt. You're getting told to leave. right?
Right.
Yep.
So, but now you can because we're all working from home. But that idea is a great idea. But the requirement, though, is that you have to put in the work.
Yes.
I don't mind putting in the work. That's
Yeah. So
the
if you
easy
did that,
part.
if you said happy birthday, you sang it right, and it was really
Yeah.
unique, whatever you're wearing, it doesn't matter because you don't want to sexualize in an HR environment.
No. You're right. Thank you. This is why. Okay, I need a second.
What do you mean? This is why?
No. just
You
say-
knew I wasn't going
No,
to
you
actually
have,
dress
you have
you
great
up.
ideas, and then you'll take them to like the extreme, and you're like, but do it in like a bird suit, and I'm like,
What's life
what?
without Spice Girls?
Yeah,
So
well, you
wait,
want to
That's
be
just to
taken
make myself
seriously.
My
Your
question
music is
is-
serious.
my question is though, like, so for these videos, do you think I need to say like if their name is John, happy birthday, dear John? Like,
Darren, what
their
is
name, or
Darren?
can it just be like
no.
anything?
What is Darren? I know you know the answer to this. What is everybody's favorite word in the English language?
Their name.
Yes, it is. Yes,
So
it
yes,
is.
I have to do all those.
Say it 15 times. Say it
Yep.
20 times. Say it as often as you can.
Everybody's favorite subject is themselves. So back to
Oh.
when I was asked how would I introduce and get to warm up someone I just met for the first time, you ask them questions which gets them to answer about themselves. And the favorite sound of everyone is their voice. And their favorite thing to hear is their name. This is just psychology. This is sales psychology.
Yep.
You start off by saying, Matt, nice to meet you. And then you end your meeting. Matt, it was a great conversation with you. I look forward to having a conversation again.
Yep.
So
Right? It gets
then,
them to perk up.
like, so I send this video. So whoever it is, CEO of Celsius Beverage, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I forget his name. I should know it.
John.
What is it again? Yeah, Fieldley. So yeah. So like say it's his birthday on LinkedIn and I see it and then I send him this video. Happy birthday to you, right? And then it's over. Like what else? Like what am I supposed to say? Do I start it like, hi, I'm a singer-songwriter and I love to give out messages on LinkedIn and I saw it was your birthday, so here you go. Like how does this do I say that or just send the happy birthday? Like how do I do I go
A/B
about
test.
it?
Do both.
Yeah. Well,
Both.
he's right. Do an A/B test, but it should have a call to action. Everything you
Yes.
do in business, LinkedIn, and life is all about why. What's in it for me? It's
Right.
not a selfish thing. In fact, there's nothing selfish about being selfish. You're supposed to feed
I like you.
yourself before you feed your family. You're supposed to
Right.
put the oxygen mask on your face before
Yeah.
you put it on your kids because you are
Absolutely.
useless as a provider if you are not taking care of yourself first.
So then like
Right?
my call to action is going to be like I think for CEOs it's either going to be hire me and pay me a bunch of money to sing at your corporate work event, right? Option,
We're
one.
not going to say it like that.
I'm not going to
because-
say it
Yeah.
like that, but this
You
is
find
the
you find too.
informal.
You say, "Hi, my
Or-
name is. I heard it was your birthday today," but you're doing all of this in character, in song. You're staying on
Yes.
brand,
Right.
and then you're going to sing your call to action at the end. I don't have the
Ooh.
greatest singing voice, but it'll be something along the lines. And if your business is looking for a whole message like this, then you go into it.
Right. And
Yeah,
if your
that's cute.
business is, if you have any events coming up, like corporate, whatever, and then you finish it with that. Cause I think
Exactly.
for me, corporate events, jingle, like my dream is actually to go on tour with my original music, but CEOs also sometimes know, like they might know a celebrity that they would be like, oh, I'm going to connect you with this person, so you just never know. Like, that's why I get stuck, you're talking about like you don't want to do too many things, right? Because you don't want to be too distracted. You want to focus on your goal. I struggle a little bit with that because I also find that when I do things that maybe aren't directly correlated to my goal, sometimes I'll get an opportunity that like leads to the goal. So it's kind of like confusing sometimes to
Well,
figure
that's
out.
where you have to narrow down what your why is. What is your purpose? If your purpose
Right.
is to get leads, then everything is about getting leads.
Right.
The sign of a truly successful person is if they know how to say no.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We're going to get so many opportunities. Now, there are times you want to say yes to every opportunity, right? When you're starting out. But once
Yeah.
you have truly defined what your North Star is, as the cool kids say, or your why or your purpose, then any request or opportunity that's not going to land you that next step is a
Mhm.
no. right? But you have to be willing to pivot left or right to get to that successful goal of yours, because there's no straight lines in success. It's
Yeah.
a jig jagged upside down roller coaster of a loop in a path.
Because I've really found sometimes I just like don't want to do something, but I'm like, I'll just do it. And then and it ends up somehow I meet someone there that's related to what I do, even if the event wasn't necessarily like, connect. I didn't think it was connected. So
Well, you have to look at your opportunity. What I have found in my career is that the opportunities where I didn't want to do something landed me the best results, because I forced myself to do it. And then mentally, you're telling yourself, well, I don't want to be right and turn this into a waste of time. So it's going to be fruitful. And
yeah,
you make it fruitful. In fact,
I
the
love
sale
how
of
you
my
frame-
business was a text message I didn't want to make. At a time, I didn't want to make it. But there was a little voice in the back of my head that said, send this text message.
yeah. I think that's where I guess listening to that intuition is really key with like your decision making and your yes and your no and just trusting that gut.
And then
Yeah.
also, like, the other side of it is, I feel like there's also, I've experienced it as a business owner, being around other 30-something business owners, the insane level of entitlement with everything. It's crazy. I don't want to sound like aged or anything myself, but the amount of entitlement people feel compelled to when it comes to how many views they get on posts and content, how much, like, when they try a campaign and they don't get a single response, it's like all of these things are very difficult things to learn and to succeed at. And it's like people don't understand how much, like, when you're coming into the game, the only thing that you have to provide to the world is your time, because you suck. You are new. If you're less than 5 years in industry, you're new and you suck. And the only thing that you have to provide is your time and your energy, because you're young, right? So you have to understand that, like, when you have an offer and you're like, okay, my offer's $10,000, it's like, dude, like, you're brand new. I think entitlement is a massive problem also, so it's like you kind of have to find the balance between the two.
I could not agree with you more. And I think the false entitlement and the drug that social medias have sold to the 30 somethings, the 20 somethings, is the reason why the 20 and 30 somethings are not actually as successful as they think they are.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that as an insult, but
No.
the reality is we're all looking at Mr. Beast. I see it with my kids and they think, oh, it's easy. I'll make $1 million. No, you won't. You're absolutely right. If your starting price point is $10,000, then you haven't earned your stripes. Do the work. Get that first referral. Be
command the big
inexpensive,
price.
but not
Yeah.
free and not cheap.
Oh, can't.
You got to put in the hustle. If you don't put in the hustle, you can't make it. And when it comes to vanity metrics, listen, we all fall prey to it, but it's bullshit. I don't care how well my post does today. All I care about is that I got 2 appointments on my calendar for my small group network introduction for my brand built community. That's it. If 1,000 people saw my post, awesome. I got my 2. Great. If 50,000 saw my post, awesome. I got my 2, maybe more. Great. I showed up for the day and I succeeded. You win the game. When
And
a
I love
baseball
that-
game is played, it's either won or lost. Yeah, people talk about big differentials. That's great. But they remember the win. And that's all that matters.
Right. It's so true. Yeah. And it's like, and I love that you shared, you said 1 or 2 leads. You didn't say 67 leads.
Realistic.
Realistic. It's like, if you get numbers like that, it's just like losing body fat. People are like, I need to, look perfect for this cruise I have in 2 weeks. It's like, dude, you're $50,000 in debt with your body. You're not going to get yourself out of debt in a week or 2. Same way, like, you're not going to have one post and you're going to generate all the business that you need for the rest of the year. It's a compounding effect. The little decisions you make every day. So what do we got?
I think.
Yeah, and then what
James
happens is
did something in
we
Atomic
set
Habits.
ourselves up for failure. Is if you're setting a goal to, weight loss or whatever, to get 1,000 likes on a post, if it doesn't happen relatively quickly, like, between January 1st and the 14th, you quit the gym, right? That's the best day for a gym is January 15th because they got you. This is why we need something that is tried and true. It's called SMART goals. Every business concept has already been written. Every business book is a regurgitation of someone else's story or someone else's concept. There's nothing original anymore, right? There's something called SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. So my SMART goal, 2 leads. 2 leads can equal 2 members per day, 14 leads a week.
I like that. Chunking.
That's right.
I'm curious what, if I were to come to you as a client, like, how does your process work? Where do you start? And what are some of the, like, when you say coaching, again, kind of broad, like, what are some of the things that you offer that set you apart from the other
So
coaches out there?
for me, I get straight to the point. I find out what's blocking you. If this is me as a business therapist, I find out what's holding you back. And usually what it is fears. Fears of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of vulnerability, fear of whatever, right? It's always coming down to a fear. In fact, the most successful people that you will ever meet, they have pushed beyond their fears. They have spoken on stage, stumbled over their words, they've tripped over a chord, and they've bounced right back up. They made a joke about it. They've forgotten their words on stage. They were caught lip syncing and they bounced back up. The ones you don't hear from anymore, they couldn't get over that fear, right? They've made a stupid error on a report and they owned it. Those are successful people because they learned from failure and getting over their fear. And most people that are starting out these days, even those that have been running businesses for a long time, they get into this fear loop where they just can't get it out. And people like me come along and say, it's okay. We've all been there. I don't care how successful I've been or how successful Bill Gates is or whoever else you admire. They all are human beings and they all suck. So when you work with me, I help you get past those roadblocks, those fear blocks. When it comes to my community, we meet 4 times a week and we talk about topics of business coaching, LinkedIn, life coaching, and it's a community of people that formed a culture that you don't have anymore. Why do I say that? I'm in my home. Most people working in their homes. There's no coffee chats. There's no water coolers. There's no friends cubicle. There's no lunch rooms. There's no happy hours. There's no high fives. There's no collaboration. It freaking sucks to work from home. I got my lazy dogs sleeping on the floor. They don't even move. They're snoring right now. That's my only friend for the next 4 or 5 hours. So it's nice to show up to a place where you can collaborate with 20, 30, 40 people on Zoom, or you could post that, hey, today's a shitty, depressed day. And you have a whole bunch of people pick you up and say, yeah, I'm right there with you, or go get them.
Just
why we
because
created a community.
I love that, but just because like my marketing brain can like never shut off, I feel like, and I know that you've thought of this. I'm not going to try to take credit, but for the uninitiated audience that maybe they want to see things from a little bit different of a perspective, I feel like the ideal client, if you were going to run your next ad for LinkedIn, the ideal client to focus on is addicts. Because what I've found about working from home, isolation. And isolation, what replaces a bunch of people in a room with you, like instead there's a bunch of little demons that surround your room. And that feeling of isolation, of lack of human connection, is where addiction is bred.
Yep.
So to me, I'd make an ad for those people that maybe they're struggling with addiction. Maybe there's a root of isolation that they're dealing with. And I just feel like, man, what a cool opportunity to just find another group of people, you know?
Yep. Listen, I've faced my own demons throughout my time. I've had my own problems, gotten out of as well. I interviewed people and I took a hike. Daniel Regan, huge addict. His mom kicked down the crack house door as he was sticking a needle in to kill himself. Right. So I've dealt with a lot of addiction and I can help with that. You're hitting the nail on the head. And we're not talking about this enough because loneliness leads to depression. If you're waking up and you're skipping a shower more often than not, and you're in your pajamas and you're at your desk working, that's a sign of depression. Now, I'm not saying everyone, want to be careful here, but being alone is
self-care.
depressing. Yes, you have to take care of yourself.
Having
you
a
have
routine in the morning, especially, you know?
Yeah, you need to put on your suit every single day. You need that routine. And what's happening now, especially with these young minds, the 20-somethings, this is not reality that everyone else who's older knows. We used to go to the city. We used to commute to the offices. We used to have a game face. The game face now is an open laptop and maybe a dog, right?
That's where all the people are. We figured it out. They're at home.
They're at home.
Remember,
Okay.
we've been wondering, like, we'll go
Right.
out, and then we're like,
Where
where
are
is
the people?
everyone?
Where is
Like,
everybody?
what-
We don't see them
Yeah,
around.
and it's because they're
Well,
at
they're
home.
home. And it is going to be our next big
Sad.
pandemic or epidemic. Depression. I mean, you see the ads for every legalized drug that everything's being prescribed. It's all
Yeah.
over the place. Zoloft, this, Prozac, that, whatever it is. There's a reason why these companies are making so much money, is because people are becoming extremely lonely.
Yeah, I agree. I really resonate with everything you're saying, and I went through my own pretty strong bout of depression and anxiety a couple of years ago, and that's part of the reason I actually got this Owwll job, was because, like, the reason I not quit, but the reason I wasn't doing music full time anymore was because I was just like tired of being so alone, and like being, my own boss, booking all my own gigs, going to shows where I'm by myself, just me and my piano. Like it just was too stressful and just not fun anymore. But like, and just having a place to go, even though I only come here twice a week, and like knowing that I have people to bounce ideas off of, and like it literally, and I was one of those people on like the Lexapro or whatever, and actually like I think that it was more situational than actually chemical. So once I made the change, then I was like, oh my God, my whole world has completely changed. I'm curious, like, when you talk about your community as well, like I know, for example, for Owwll, we also have a community of brand ambassadors, and we meet on Zoom once a week, and it's mostly solo entrepreneurs. And like the vibe, I feel like, of our community is very much like we all understand what it's like to be in that position, and we support, just like you had said, like they actually added me on LinkedIn and like liked my posts and commented. Like when I ask Owwll people to do something, like they show up and they do it. And um I would say a lot of them are more of those like middle of the road entrepreneurs who are either still working a day job and trying to make their business their full-time thing, or maybe they're trying to hit those like six figures. So like that's sort of, we've just attracted those type of people naturally. So I'm wondering, like, in your with your community, what types of people are in it? Like, is it a similar bunch? And like, I think it's important when you're marketing your community, like, to be able to describe the type of people and the vibe of that community. So I want to know just in more detail, other than like, we're a supportive community and you're less alone. Like, what is the vibe of your community?
Yeah, so we are looking for entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, professionals that are looking to go into business, founders. That's the general consensus of our community. We're looking for those that need true business coaching. LinkedIn is a marketing tool that we talk about ad nauseum because it's the best marketing tool there is. But with that, though, comes the aspect of life. Everyone is a life coach to some extent. If you're, upset and you have a friend's shoulder to cry on, that they're acting as your life coach in that moment, right? But we're truly looking to empower professionals and build their brand, build brands with them, and that's where we
So
focus.
founders, like
Yeah,
founders of brands,
yeah,
is what
founders
you're
of
looking for,
businesses. We do
or
have a
business
few
people.
working professionals, but
Yeah.
it's harder to really resonate if we're talking about concepts of what to charge or how to hire the right payroll consultant or 401ks or
Mhm.
M&A or exits. That's like,
Yeah.
fossil right over their head.
Are most of these founders like just starting their companies,
It's a
or
mixture. We have
it's a
some
mix?
very seasoned professionals and have had multiple exits like myself, or we
Yeah.
have I got tired of dealing with my boss, so I just quit last week and I started a new business. Right?
Cool. No,
That
that makes
person needs the most help. Now, when it comes to my hourly rate, that person cannot afford my hourly rate,
mhm.
but they absolutely need my advice, or someone like me that can provide advice. So, how can I get them to afford it? Well, you charge a monthly rate, and now you're part of this whole group. That's where my partner, Nat Berman, got together and we said, well, the people who need us the most are the most underserved when it comes to business advice and guidance.
Yeah.
So how do we charge them a lot less but provide the
Mm,
same quality coaching and expertise
yeah.
of groups, group therapy, group sessions. That's how
Yeah.
you do it. You charge
And
less.
it
But then,
benefits them because
yeah,
now they get to not only connect with you one-on-one, but then they get to talk to these other people as well who are in their same position. So, um,
so it's true. When you're around other people in your same or similar situation, you start talking, you start helping each other out. And what we have is a thriving discussion board where it's people showing up to offer their own advice, guidance, or support. It's magic. It's like any
I
other group that
I
you would be
see
part of.
something happening. I see this collaboration between I think you need to get your community. We could create, I don't know if Jason mentioned this, but one of the things we started with Owwll is creating groups on Owwll. So I'm not sure what the name of your community is. You want
It's
to throw
called
it out?
brand built.
Brand built. So what we could do on the Owwll homepage is make a specific section called brand built so that everyone, I mean, maybe you already have a way for them to communicate, but everyone in brand built now is under the brand built category in Owwll. They can connect with each other. They know, oh, he's in brand built, she's in brand built. Cool. We haven't met yet, right? They can call each other and they can then get new leads from the app, tell people what brand built is, tell them about you, right? So we've found that actually these groups and these communities, rather than going after one person at a time to download Owwll, we found like, oh my gosh, there's so many of these communities out there now. Let's get the whole community on the app, and create a category for them themselves and even collaborate in different events. So I feel like this could be an awesome thing for you to offer to your community too, as another lead gen for them. Like now let's access this whole new community in Owwll, right? So
Yep. So you see what happened just there? That's the magic of having a conversation and being open to sharing ideas and opportunities.
mhm.
I love both your lenses, and I love the synchronicity that's happening right now. Um, just want to put my 2 cents in there. I'm really enjoying listening right now. So I hope the listeners here are too. Darren, you've been very insightful, and
Thank you.
you're really, really, really optimistic.
And
I'd love to meet you in person.
I know I liked your energy right
Yeah,
away.
I love
And
your energy.
one of the things, like right before you got on this call, they were asking me, um, basically like, what was it? Something about like, how do I determine if someone is bullshit, basically? like, and like,
You smelled it,
okay, the
yes.
nicer way of saying this is just in sales, like, how do I decide if I want to actually pull the trigger and what do I look for? And I feel like you're checking all the boxes of like everything that I had mentioned. I'd mentioned data, like you have a real background, companies you sold, you have the experience. Um,
Yeah,
you,
well, you'll find that often that a lot of people, don't have the credentials they need in order to do what they're saying. And that's just how people are in life. I tend to
yeah,
walk around with a positive lens. I don't watch the media. I don't care for
me
politics because
neither.
it's all negative head trash.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
choose to live positive.
And it's not
Being
being, so
negative is
many
a choice.
people say that it's ignorant. And I'm like,
It's
it's
not
not
ignorant.
ignorant. It's a
No.
conscious choice to actually everything. People don't realize that we are picking up on people's energy constantly.
Correct.
And I'm very conscious about, we all are, it seems like, what I pay attention to, the people I surround myself with, because
What we
I am
consume on a daily
sensitive. It affects
basis.
me.
Yeah,
So
well,
You
the
have to
next
be
time
careful what you
someone tells
consume.
you that it's ignorant that you don't watch the news, just tell them or remind them ignorance is bliss. They walk around miserable all day long. They're walking around thinking that the world is going to end constantly. I assure you it is not. And I assure
Yeah.
you that we live in the best time of human existence ever.
Ever.
And anyone who doubts me, I remind them that if they cursed the king back in the 1600s, they lost their lip.
Mm,
We don't worry about that anymore.
mm.
We don't need to. And again, what sells, right? Bad news, right? News is bad, supposed to be bad, so you get more tuned in, right? You
That's
listen
right.
to all the negativity. It's just, again, I hate saying it like this as a poli sci. I'm very big into current events, but with the state of the world going on, you got all this news about these ports and all this stuff. Maybe inflation round two. I'm in imports and exports, so. When you hear all this, you try not to be so pessimistic, right? There's so much opportunity when there's always an opportunity. That's how I look at the world.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
as I think you do too, from what
yeah,
I'm
if
gathering.
costs
From
are rising, you work a little bit harder or you raise your prices. I mean, there was what, hundreds of millions of people who survived after the Great Depression. We don't have to
absolutely.
worry about standing on soup kitchen lines and food lines for our bowl of soup. That
Mm.
doesn't exist anymore.
Well, you are actually going to talk about the strike, right?
I was going
Like
to talk about the port strikes and
port strike.
make it more current events based
Because
and how it's going to affect our economy.
Well, I like to be educated on like what's going on so that then I can be like, okay, this is happening. I'm not going to freak out or, have over exaggerate, whatever. I'm not going to react. I'm going to respond. Right. So it's
Sure.
important to be educated about something. So I'm curious, like what, as we're talking about the news and all of this stuff, like what does it exactly mean?
So
'Cause I knew you wanted to talk about that. Like, what does it mean for us, and what can we do to, take
I mean,
respond and not react, right? Like, what?
respond and not react. So
So
there is a bunch of viral TikTok videos right now pretending that's the end of the world. You'll probably see it because the algorithm is so damn negative. TikTok, get your shit together. Stop scaring people. All right, it's propaganda.
And give me more followers,
yeah,
TikTok.
help her out.
It's so hard to get followers on
Forever
TikTok.
young. They hate the millennials.
Ellie,
Yeah.
we've literally had this conversation right now. We know it's hard to get followers.
Okay.
We know.
Okay. Go.
So let me go ahead.
No
and break it
cheap
down right now.
tricks.
Okay, no cheap tricks, guys. So imports, exports. So United States isn't as big of a manufacturer anymore, and we are an import-based society. Mostly about 75. I'd say about 70% of our stuff is imported, right? Would you say that's fair, Darren?
It might even be a little bit higher.
I'd like to give
some
our
base
people a
metals
little
and
credit.
materials. Yeah.
I'd love to give the Rust Belt and Pennsylvania some credit, right, based on where my manufacturing operations are.
We have coal, so there's that.
Yeah, it's coal. China still thrives off coal, my friend. Anyways, so up and down the East Coast, guys, on October 1st and around the Gulf area, and not to scare anybody, the longshoremen are actually going on strike. The head of the union actually just said that there is a 99% chance that they are going to go on strike. What that means for the average consumer is that containers which we import our goods from, whether it's produce, whether it's tangible goods, whether if you're a store on TikTok that's importing little tchotchkes, it's all going to be affected. And for every day that we are delayed at the port, it's pushed out in real-time man hours about 5 business days. So you could say a full week. That being said, we just had a roundabout with inflation, and the government and the Fed is celebrating that we're at 2%. Yeah, right. Sorry. That being said, it's going to affect us unless the federal government steps in, which is kind of scary, guys.
When you say it's going to affect us, like to what degree?
To what degree is okay. So suppose if you're John's Farms, shout out John's Farms, Hicksville. You are importing avocados, right? Avocados are coming from Mexico. Let's say they're coming from the southern half of Mexico. If they're going on a boat, they're going to come to the Port of Tampa. The Port of Tampa is not working. It's not working. They're all
we're
on
not going to
strike.
get our avocados.
Grow your own avocado trees. We live in Florida, baby.
Yeah.
Woo! Shout out Florida. California. There you go.
Although I'm not going to go deep into this, but do your research on avocados from Mexico. You probably don't want to support them.
Yeah.
They're probably cartel. Yeah, I'm just they have.
Like I said, I'm not going further on that.
I know
exactly.
that I'm
my friend. I'm in manufacturing, and thank God we had the USMC. It helps with free trade, and unfortunately, there are some bad actors that do exploit that that free trade. Whether it's we don't have to get into it. Let's
So what can we do again if we want to take a little bit of action?
I am pro America, 100%. I believe the Constitution, and I think we should bring American manufacturing back. I know it sounds cliche. We are the next generation of entrepreneurs, especially us millennials. We really need to step up and
stop being in victim mode and complaining about everything.
Correct. Personally, me, I'm not. I'm just going to use an anecdote of myself. I choose not to be a victim, so I'm deciding to go ahead and build something big that's going to impact and leave a legacy, right? TBD, guys. It'll be nice. That being said,
Can we
bring back
buy
American?
seeds?
We can buy seeds. I remember
I was
World
thinking
War
about
II
hoarding
victory garden-
seeds.
We were talking about World War II victory gardens last night, guys. So, I think we should really, really focus on our youth, especially Gen Z, and get them equipped and out of the house. And just choose whether it's woodworking, whether it's swinging a hammer, as long as you can build something tangible with these two hands. I promise you.
I wish that I had wood shop and stuff in school, not wood shop.
Hello.
Hey, I think we have a caller here. Hello.
Hey,
called her.
how are you?
Hi, I'm Manny. How are you?
Hi, Manny. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you. Hi, Diana.
And we have Darren, LinkedIn branding expert here as well.
Awesome. That's great, Manny. Tell me about what you do.
So I actually, I am, like I was saying, I am an independent sales agent. I provide, basically,
for my
I make your house look good. I provide multi-unit cabinetry for, let's say, hotels, like, single family condos, 300 units at a time. I import cabinets and I help the builders and developers get them situated with that. Especially on the custom side, I work with a couple of custom shops and do some of their high-end remodels. And what about yourself, Diana? Tell me a little bit about you.
I'm a marketing strategist. Been focusing a lot on multicultural for years now, and that's what I do. I help businesses connect with diverse audiences.
So
For
Darren,
business messaging. Mhm.
Darren is our featured guest, and he's been helping Manny, like just kind of my set. Well, it's Ellie, by the way. Maybe you recognize my
Yeah.
voice. We've met.
Yeah, I
But
did.
yeah. So like I've been asking him questions about like my business and my brand. Manny's been talking about his business and his brand. Jonathan and Darren are really like giving business advice, branding advice, entrepreneurial, financial advice to anyone that calls in. So this is your opportunity to really talk to these other experts, because I know you're an expert in your field too. So this is your chance to really get advice from them and ask anything you want to ask, maybe a part of your business that you're struggling with right now, or just it's your chance.
Sure. When it comes to LinkedIn, since you're an expert, Darren, on that platform, what's your recommendation to stand out? Like I normally use bringing value, educating, potential clients. What's your recommendation? What else can I do? Any features through LinkedIn that I should be leveraging?
Yeah, for sure. So when it comes to standing out, you have to have a plan. And I think that's where most people get LinkedIn wrong. They don't go in with a plan. They go in for likes or followers or connections. Your plan should be to post every single day. You should write content based on your pillars. You should have 4 or 5. So, for instance, my pillars are CEO stuff, the emotions of business, the power of community, and sometimes I dabble in some random emotions of life. And I try to write on those pillars, and you don't want to write outside of the box. That would be like a country musician trying to do his next album as rap. It just won't
Mhm.
fly. So you want to keep consistent to your pillars, and you want to publish at least 5 days a week. And you can write as much as you want, edit it, and then schedule your posts every single day so you don't have to worry about it. But then the next step is the most crucial. That is to stay on your post in its first hour, show up about 20 minutes before, comment on creators that you like. And then for that next hour or so, respond to anyone who comments on your post. Think about the reason why. You wrote a post that people like, they resonate with it, they want to support you, they want to leave a statement or a comment. You should pay them the favor back and respond and keep that dialogue going. That's also
Mhm.
good for growing the post's impressions and its reach. And then from there, if you resonate with somebody and you really like what they had to say, you want to get them to come back the next day. How do you do that? You connect with them and then you start messaging them in the DMs. And once you do that, you have a follower, a real follower. And then maybe take it to Owwll. Maybe you'll find them on Owwll. There you go, guys. I'll give you a plug there. Right. But you want to
Mhm.
connect with the people that are supporting you the most, because that's your new audience. and it takes time. It's not a 30-day thing. It's a commitment. You have to commit to the
Yeah.
better part of a year to do this. But I can assure you, if you show up every day, at least 5 days a week, I post 7, but on the
Yeah.
weekends, I'm not as active as I am obviously during the week, but
Mhm.
I look at it as it's purposeful. Now,
Yeah.
usually when I tell people I'm on LinkedIn up to 4 hours a day, with the exception of this time right now, they their jaw drops and they're like, that's crazy. Well, I don't email ever. I don't use a
Mm.
CRM system anymore. I'm not in my proprietary this or that system anymore. So I look at it as shifting my thought process. My responsibility to be on LinkedIn is just like my responsibility was to be on a CRM platform or to make cold calls. So it's just about your purpose. So your why is now LinkedIn. You do that, you'll grow your personal brand, and you'll grow your audience, and you'll be able to find and identify what your ICP is. And once you identify your ICP, your ideal client profile, that's when the magic happens. And that's when LinkedIn becomes a money-making machine.
Yeah, and
Okay.
that was such a good piece of advice. I can't possibly make it better, but I can give a little hack that I used. And Darren, I'd love your opinion on this. It's just from like testing a lot, right? So I like kind of invented this thing where it's like the 90-10 rule. So I told myself I'm going to spend 90% of my time engaging with the platform and 10% of the time putting my own effort into my own content, right? Because you can get so much great data about the platform just based off of commenting on other people's stuff, right? And comment is content in its own way because people do see your comments, right? But what I started doing is before I would post my post, this was my theory. I don't know if it's actually true. It's just a theory. I would like and comment 9 other posts. So I'd get a couple of like industry leaders that are never going to see my like and comment, but it's a piece of content that's going to get a lot of impressions. I'd do 4 or 5 of those. And then I'd find 4 or 5 small creators with good content. This means people that we can see are putting effort into their stuff. They're just not getting a lot of engagement. I would support those smaller creators because I knew on a long enough time horizon, they're going to be successful,
Yeah.
And I would like and comment their stuff first. By the way, I love you, Diana. I know you are. I didn't have to guess. There was no intro needed for you, girl. But we'll pretend. But anyways, all that said, I would comment on 9 posts. A couple of small creators that they will appreciate my engagement, and a couple of big creators that I can get a bunch of views with, right, for my comment. And then so I do 9 of those, and then the 10th activity was my post. And Darren, what I kind of sort of found over time is because I engaged with their last post, like I would find those people, I'd engage in their last content. After I posted, sometimes they get a notification and then they go over to my content and like and comment on that because it's reciprocity. So I found something as simple as front loading engagement and give people a lot of stuff and then post your thing. You actually gain some likes and comments from that.
Oh, great information.
You nailed it.
Great advice from both of you. Last question before we hang up, because I have 2 more minutes. Format. Any recommendation on format?
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of formats that work. There's the hook. You always want to start with a really good hook. That's your opener. That's what's going to stop the scroll, right? My best advice for that, find some creators you really align with. They can be some of your competitors or you like what they're saying, and look at the last 30 days of their hooks just to get a feel of it. That's your impact statement, right? And then you want to come in with a story and some sort of resolution. You always want to be educating, inspiring, motivating, but you do not want to sell. People do not like to be sold to. Where you sell is your call to action in your comments or in the follow-up. This is a dating game, right? No one will date you if the second you meet them, you say, will you be my boyfriend or girlfriend? You're never going to go on a date with them, right? So there's an art form in doing this back and forth dance. And what I've noticed is my ICP will be a lurker for a while. There are 1 billion people on LinkedIn, right? If you have 10,000 impressions on your post, but only 200 reactions, well, that means a whole bunch of people looked at it, but they didn't react.
Yeah.
Eventually, you'll start getting comments from people or a DM that says, hey, I've been following you for a long time. This is my first post or comment. That's how you know they've been a lurker the whole time. So they've been checking you out, and they finally got the courage to ask you on a date. And that's
Yeah.
what this game is. That's where you have to hit them with kindness, inspiration, motivation. And you don't just hit them over the head with the frying pan and say, date me. Right?
Yeah.
This sales is a longer term than it ever used to be, unless there are exceptions, right? A marketing machine and a product. Yeah, that's different. But when it comes to selling your services, whatever you do, it's a longer timeline, but it is worth it to just show up every day, be consistent, be caring, right? Be concerned, and be there in support for others. It will pay back for sure.
Just takes a little time and a little bit of effort. But if you keep doing the same activity, I mean, to me, Darren, I don't know how you feel. To me, it's a mathematical formula, and that gives me peace of mind. If I hit this thing and it's good enough times, I'm going to get a result. It's just a matter of who's willing to put in that much effort, you know?
Yep. It's timeline. And again, it comes back to SMART goals. So my goal is 2 and only 2 ICPs sign up for a Zoom style small group networking introduction. When they sign up, they walk away with something. They walk away with up to 10 other people they've never met before, networking with. They connect with them, right? Maybe I'll give some freebies, like I'll give them a demo that I did on how to make the best profile for funnel management to really make your profile stand out. So they walk away with something. I didn't waste their half hour.
Right.
In the best case, they saw value in aligning with me, and they see value with my community brand built, and they want to join. That's my best case. But I know if they join, they will keep getting more and more.
Beautiful. Thank you for that, Darren. So we are joined by another guest. We have Hernandez. Hernandez, is that your first name, or did we just mix it up a little bit?
Oh, that's my last name.
Okay, what's your first name? Because we don't see it on screen.
Gianluca.
Gianluca. All right. So I'd hope that you know what's going on right now. We got a 24-hour podcast that we're streaming live at this moment. So I'm assuming you got some questions for us, some branding and marketing questions for Darren. He's an expert. He doesn't play around on LinkedIn. So I hope you're rocked and ready to go.
Well, actually, I wasn't aware of this. I just received the call. I put my ability on. I'm new to the app. So
Oh, awesome. Well, here's an opportunity to learn how to use it more effectively. Tell us about your business.
Awesome. Well, I'm building an AI platform. It's a community marketplace. So essentially, we're trying to bring access to the best AI solutions, make them available to the public.
All right. So I got to say, man, and it's like, and this is where you can challenge me. I feel like AI is getting there's just so many people that are advertising it. What are the steps that you're taking to separate yourself from everybody else? You talked to me. I wasn't really impressed. Give me something better, dude. I want to feel something. Give me something.
Oh, of course. Well, I think one of the biggest challenges is that exactly what you're saying. Everyone is going out of their way to advertise AI.
Yeah.
There's thousands of apps flooding the market. That it's difficult to really pinpoint which ones are adding unique value. I think that's where our core differentiation is that we're developing a curation methodology that allows us to, pretty much bring visibility to the creators that are making solutions that are actually adding something new to the market that you couldn't simply do with ChatGPT.
Right.
Because a lot of AI solution, they might seem advanced and worth the money, but at the end of the day, many of the times they're simply building on top of ChatGPT, and you could do the same. You could achieve the same results if you're effectively know how to use ChatGPT.
Do you have any questions for him, Darren? I'm planning on marinating on what he's sharing.
Yeah, I mean, I use GPT because
I don't know.
Go ahead, Darren.
What was that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying I use GPT because I still don't know the correct placement of a comma. Maybe that's my Long Island elementary education. But yeah, I use GPT for editing, but I know I'm not using it right. And I know a lot of other people use it. So what prompts should we be asking AI? What should we be using it for other than comma placement?
Well, that's a great question. So, why is it that you say you're not using it right?
Because I hear everyone else online talking about how they generated this with AI, or AI flushed their toilets for them, or whatever the example is that they're giving. But it sounds so much cooler than my experience.
Well, I think that's a difficult question to answer because there are just so many different ways you can use it. And of course, there's both good ways to use it and bad ways to use it. I think, for example, if you look at in the school environment, the way to use it is simply put in a prompt and allow it to generate the entire assignment for you. So that would be the bad assignment, the bad way to use it, because it could technically create a whole paper for you. But if you just give it one simple prompt and have it generate the whole paper, then you're not really having control over it. And I think one of the key principles, for the most part, anytime you're going to implement AI, is that there has to be effective human oversight and input. So if it's generating a page worth of content and you only give it one sentence, then the balance is not good enough.
Yeah,
So are you
I see
saying
that
that there's
often on LinkedIn. That, I mean, you could tell when AI wrote someone's post, and it's like it's horseshit.
What was that?
First and foremost, Darren is absolutely right, and it's getting to the point where, like, if I see a post start with "imagine" with two, like, the semicolon or whatever, I know it's ChatGPT, right? Like, there's little indicators, but what I'm understanding from you is so the prompt should match in length compared to the amount of prompt you're expecting to receive.
Well, not exactly. Well, that, of course, one of the main benefits of AI is that it makes things quicker. So you would hope that the prompt that you receive is going to be longer than the prompt you give it. But
Right.
the prompt you give it has to have substantial guidance for it to be able to add information that is actually valuable. Because if you give it one sentence, it
Of
will
course.
just pretty much add a
Yeah,
bunch of
it's
stuff
gonna
that's
go.
that's not on the same tangent.
2 points that I want to make about that, and Darren, I'd love your opinion on this one directly right after I say it. I'm a massive fan of Rick Rubin. He's like a music producer, but the thing about Rick Rubin is he can't read music. He doesn't play an instrument, yet all of these musicians turn to him to find, like, that music that's going to hit, that's going to go viral, that's going to get millions of people's attention. He's a legend. He's been in the business for so many. How does a guy that doesn't know how to play an instrument and, like, can't, like, play music or knows what a note is, how is it that all these massive executives and these musicians and all these people hire him? Why?
It's
because
very
he has-
simple. So
Say it.
if I walk into your house and you ask me how your curtains look, and I say, blue carpet, gold curtain rods, looks like dog shit. I'm not an interior designer, but I made a decision. The reason why people like Rick Rubin are where they are is because they can make a decision. If you're too into the music, you're making too much analysis paralysis. Every successful person, regardless of what they do, where they are on this planet, has the ability to make a quick decision. And from there, everything Rick Rubin says is gold is then manufactured, marketed, produced, all the efforts run with it as if it's gold. And what do human beings do? They listen to marketing because someone more popular or cooler told them that this is gold. It's a simple formula. He's great. Absolutely. Elon Musk is great. Absolutely. But I can argue that almost anyone could have been Elon Musk if they were put in Elon Musk's position and had similar personality characteristics and the money to say that that man knows what he's talking about.
That is, like, one of the most beautiful monologues I've ever heard on LinkedIn. That is, like, better than I could have said, but it is on the money, absolutely true. It's a decision. He's got an ear. And in the same way with ChatGPT, to relate it back to that, if you don't have the eye or the ear or to know, I'm going to make a decision on this piece of content, I know that this is going to work, then you're shooting blanks. It's like you're just in a forest lost. You don't know, right? But you have to know what good marketing looks like Rick Rubin knows what good music sounds like.
Yeah.
So even if you have ChatGPT,
it's experience. I just want to preface this. I don't want people thinking that I'm saying that he's not talented. He's immensely talented because he's had his 50,000 hours doing exactly this task.
Right.
So yes, he knows it better than you and I. I could not do that. But because he was given that authority, it allowed him to have that self-confidence, that belief. It allowed others to give him the credibility of belief without naysaying. And therefore, he developed and honed his craft. So yeah, he is the perfect person to make those decisions because he's the best at it.
Right. And that's why we're still going to have careers. That's why I'm not worried about ChatGPT and all that stuff, because people will still turn to people that know what they're talking about, because ChatGPT can write you a prompt. It's not going to make you go viral, right? There's still those elements that experts know. They know what to listen for, what to look for to make it work. So yeah, beautiful example. Beautiful example.
By the way, do you know, you threw out the word imagine. Do you know why imagine is so used by the GPTs?
I mean, I can imagine why, but I'd love your answer.
Well, believe me, I'll explain it to you. So I took
you had to say, believe me. I already know where this is going.
So I took a course on strategic persuasion from one of those reputable business schools. And I took it from the reputable business school so people would take me seriously.
Right.
And in that course, they taught us that the two most powerful, influential words in the English language are the words imagine and believe, because it gets you, the listener, to paint a picture and put yourself in that scenario, in that story. So if you start off with imagine a world, you start imagining a world, right?
You close your eyes.
Believe
You're right there.
me, you start doing what I just told you to do based on learned behavior.
Well, that's very true. So now it could be argued then that since it's so commonly used in ChatGPT, it's devaluing, the true essence of the word.
And that has been happening since the beginning of history. We keep switching words. Thank you so much, my friend, for chiming in, and we'll be talking to you soon. So thank you for that.
All right, guys.
I guess Jason, good job with finding Darren. He's like holy shit good. He's like holy shit good. But you know what I love about it is it like, again, like I don't get the opportunity to like talk to brilliant people every day, but it's the way that you bring the psychology into it. Like I understood early on that was such an important element to what we're creating. This isn't just marketing. This is human behavior more than anything else. It's compelling people to do things that maybe they don't necessarily want to do in this moment. So yeah, I really love your output, especially the human side of things.
So I'll go on a tiny bit of a tangent, but circle it back.
I got time. No, go for it.
I personally think all colleges do our students, our undergrad, a disservice by not requiring psychology 101 and 201 courses, right? Business courses are an absolute must. Every college student should have some business sense, be able to balance a checkbook, old school, I know, but it's a thought process, or at least be able to understand what a P&L is.
Right.
But you can't teach entrepreneurship. That's just a hustle and an intuition, but you can teach someone how to read financial documents,
right?
Especially if they're going to invest one day. But everybody needs to understand psychology, because sales is simple psychology. That's it. Right. You have to understand who you're talking to. You have to understand their needs, their wants, and their desires, and how their brain works. And all of our brains function not too dissimilar. So I took it upon myself to study psychology. Now, pair that with ADHD. We've all heard ADHD is a superpower. It is for some, not for many. But one thing with ADHD, which is great, is you have the ability to see things before they happen, which plays on the psychological realm.
Sorry about that. It's because we have another guest joining us. What's going on, Tony? We met last week, buddy, didn't we?
That's right. It's funny. I'm live streaming this right now.
Oh shit!
And I just saw my name pop up.
So you're live streaming it. Okay. Well, we need to find a way to tie that and see it ourselves. How cool! Thank you for doing that. So, for those of you who don't know, I met Tony at an event last week. It was one of the stage events. What was the name of it again? Epic Talks. And I mean, down here in Miami, they had it at a beautiful location. So I meet this super charismatic guy. He's just like bursting at the seams with energy. And I love those kinds of people that aren't afraid to put themselves out there, introduce themselves. I don't know, you don't know me, but we can maybe create some magic here. So, Tony, I'd love if you could just kind of introduce yourself, tell people what you do, and maybe we can help you with marketing and branding, even though I don't think you need much of it. But hey, entertain us for a little while. So introduce yourself, buddy.
Heck yeah. Well, pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on. My name is Tony Murray. I've spent the last 6 years traveling the world full time with nothing more than an iPhone and some free software. And so basically what I kind of fell into was creating content for hotels, hostels, resorts, Airbnbs, because it's become such a market that has ruled the internet, right?
Right.
Everybody needs content, and people are really starting to wake up to the fact that it's so necessary to invest in good quality content that reaches people in a way that's genuine, honest, and reflective of their true nature.
Right.
And so at Epic Talks, we got to briefly chat and catch up this past week, and it was super fun. But
Yeah.
one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, like, in this age of marketing, in this age of content where everybody's fighting for eyeballs, what are some key, like, personal brand strategies and content creation strategies that you believe are necessary to stay relevant and scale for the?
Oh my gosh, dude. Excellent question. Really, really good question. Darren, you're the guest of honor, so I'll let you go first, and then I'll pick up off after you.
Well, first thing is, are you on LinkedIn right now?
Did we lose him? He might be coming in and out. So let's say, I want to say that he's not currently posting on LinkedIn. Where would be a good starting point for him? We know, so something that Darren did mention previously, just so he doesn't have to repeat himself, he had mentioned, having a plan, having a strategy, having content pillars that you can consistently pull from. What would be like, and having hooks? He reviewed hooks. He reviewed storytelling. So maybe, I'm sorry to stretch you a little bit, but I feel like you got plenty, Darren. What would be another angle of maybe something that they could consider?
You could be somewhat of a lurker, because if you're not comfortable putting yourself out there and writing content, it's a dog. It's a lot of work, right? You're on a scheduled task at that point. You could essentially gain a similar size network just by commenting. And
Right.
sometimes good, sometimes bad. So I'll never recommend somebody be a negative person on a business first platform like LinkedIn. But I did notice, and it tends to be people from the UK, I started getting a few what we call shit comments on my posts, right? And
this guy knows.
and they always seem to be from the UK. So I joke with my British
every
friends.
time they hate us, man. I
Every
don't know what
time.
it is.
Yeah. So I found that to be funny. But I noticed, though, that this one person kept showing up. And when I clicked on their profile, it was a real profile. They were a real person, but they never had any of their own content. But they always just shit commented. That was their thing. And they had followers. It got my attention because all of a sudden this crappy comment had 32 reactions and a string of other comments. Right. And one person said, "Go get him, Jack, blah, blah, blah." Right. So that is a way for you to draw attention. And that's not as timed. That's on demand. You show up, you see a post, you make a comment. Now, I'm not recommending bad comments because that doesn't help you sell anything. There is no purpose being on LinkedIn if you are not trying to make money off of it. Revenue is king in business. Right.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. But that is the truth. Don't go on LinkedIn because it's not social media, right? It doesn't, don't waste your time with that. There's a purpose. So make it so it's positive. Maybe you're offering some support or guidance or tips, business, LinkedIn, or life in your comments. And that's a way for you to stay active, draw attention to who you are without being against the time clock.
Right. Again, incredibly well said. Incredible. And one strategy to kind of piggyback off that a little bit, when I was trying to stand out early on, you have to remember you're the guy with time, but not a lot to offer to people when you're just starting to build yourself up. Of course, you could give, advice and things, but people may not be seeing it. So what I started to do I don't know how you feel about him, Darren, but Simon Sinek.
I love Simon Sinek.
I
He's the one who created Why,
Golden
which
Circle.
yeah.
Well, let's talk about his content strategy.
Yeah.
So when I read his content, it's like he says a thing and then he says it in reverse, and that's the post. It's like a quote, he says it, and then the reverse meaning, and then that's the post. And like, I just got to the point that I love Simon so much and I hate his content so much, I have to say something, So I started commenting on Simon Sinek's post in like 2021, and I'm just like, Simon, I love you, man, but like what is with your content? Like, you got to like upgrade your team or something. And I was just trying to be kind of humorous about it. Maybe there were a lot of people that felt similar to me, but I started getting a lot of engagement on it, right? So I feel like sometimes if a really big influencer, somebody with a lot of notoriety, is posting something that you may not be in alignment, understand that there's probably people that feel the same way as you do. Let's not wreck them, but we can do this in a healthy way, and it could get you a lot of engagement because there's probably some people that feel the same way as you do. So sometimes that contrarian viewpoint is actually a great way to just get some attention.
Yeah. I mean, It's not a horrible strategy if that's your true belief. I would never recommend to somebody to live in a negative world or to shit post on someone else's creation.
Right,
But in that
right.
case, he has a team of people. It's not him, right? So you're questioning the material and the content and the strategy. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Right. And I love the guy, but I'm like, come on, man. I want to see better from you. I want to see better from you.
Yeah.
But,
Listen, you and I would love to be in that guy's position as well.
Oh, in a heartbeat, my friend, in a heartbeat, but absolutely. So we got a call. We got Tony back. So Tony, we were sharing a little bit about it. So what we shared, in case you had missed it, was just dominating the comments. Like, that's a great way. If maybe you're not quite ready to start posting on LinkedIn, it's a great way of kind of building yourself up a little bit. That's what Darren was sharing.
Cool. Dominating content. I mean, so definitely engaging with people is a strategy that is, people got to feel wanted. They got to feel cared for. They got to feel respected. But like in the realm of content, in the realm of filming, what kind of future do you see as far as like the general curve of the internet and social media?
My favorites, the things that always work well for me, especially with video content, is two things. Number one, pattern disruption, and the second one is subverting expectations. So what we understand about content and everything is people want newness, right? 94%, and this is what they say, I think it's BuzzSumo had this, 94% of the reason why somebody's going to watch a social media video is they have a perception that they're going to learn something new. They're going to see something new, right? So how do we consistently create this newness all the time, So I feel like when you have some kind of pattern disruption in the beginning of the video that hits them in a way they weren't anticipating, captures attention. But then how do we hook them? We can subvert their expectations. Comedians are amazing at this. They have a scenario. They think that, you seem like you're walking towards left, and all of a sudden they take you right. So that's something that I could dive into a little bit deeper when we focus on content. But I'd say like those are two things that are a little bit higher level, but can make all the difference. Is just getting them in those first 3 seconds, hitting them with something they weren't expecting. Maybe you have something in frame. Maybe you come into frame in an unusual way, right? You have something in your hand. You're wearing something, hats, something to capture them, right? And then when you subvert their expectations, that keeps them hooked because they think they know, but they don't. And now I need to see how it ends. So I don't know. What do you think of that, Darren?
I mean, you nailed it right there. Subversion is everything. Again, when you're dealing with an audience, the newness factor is everything. It almost feels like everything's already been generated.
Yep.
But look at how people are consuming content. It's almost their drug. So your job is to be, in a way, their dealer and make sure your content isn't too long, but it's fresh, it's well put together. If you're funny, it's funny. If it's engaging, it's engaging. And you just stay in your lane and you don't try to come outside of your own style.
Well, and I think that's a huge important part, because a lot of people are trying to wear too many hats, right?
Yeah.
And like everybody always talks about how you have to find your niche, you have to dial in on what it is that you are. But I think a lot of people haven't spent enough time getting to know themselves, getting to know their strengths, their weaknesses, and then reflecting that in the content that they produce. Everybody's trying to hop on viral sounds or trends, and yeah, okay, I guess that's great if you want to pop off a few views. But from my own experience in this world, people are so thirsty for genuine, authentic, real people, because we've been just completely submerged in this content world where it's all this highlighted, Adobe Photoshop edited, everything looks really great, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily create the most real and authentic version of who you are.
Right.
And so some of the stuff that's gone absolutely viral, like 85 million views, 100 million views, are people who just take their phone, look into the front camera and speak honestly. And it just goes nuts. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, it's criminally true. It is criminally true that like the authenticity, but like a bigger point, just because I want to like be ultra specific, like at the end of the day, talk about shit that you actually know. I feel like so many people fall, like you'll avoid the authenticity thing if you're actually talking about shit you know and you're not reading off of a script, right? People can tell when you know what you're talking about, and they can tell when you're reading off a script. And I feel like so much of it is just like Darren said, stay in your lane. Talk about what you know. Like, if you can't get somebody from point A to point Z, you shouldn't be selling it. You know?
Damn right. Damn right.
Yeah.
I would also add that don't chase trends because virality doesn't pay the long-term bills, right? Yeah, you'll get a quick pop here or there, but then you're always chasing that high. And that's not how you build a business or a brand or any good strategy, anything that's reliable. And then I would say that you should not be afraid to let your audience determine where you go with your content. If you're listening to your audience, they'll tell you exactly what you should be doing. So for instance, when I first started posting every day on LinkedIn, I was writing about everything. I'd write about my dog. I'd write about not having a dog. I'd write about a house. I'd write about things that piss me off. But over the last few months, I now get comments of, hey man, this was your best post ever, or this one really resonated with me. So if you're paying attention to those comments, your audience is telling you what's working for them, and then you go with that flow. And every major successful brand has always listened to their audience. That's why Coca-Cola is still here.
This one's gonna be hot. I like this, Darren. You got a few minutes, buddy, before I get into this one?
I do.
All right. I kind of like the energy of this. So I believe what you're saying, but this was just my personal experience, because I'm somebody that doesn't have the strongest boundaries. I don't have the strongest boundaries. I started to fall in love with my audience a little bit too much. And then what sometimes happens when you're generating millions of views on stuff and you feel this pressure, you start to kind of like almost become a parody of yourself. You're like just dancing. You're a dancing monkey that's following the beat that everybody else is telling you to. So I had to implement something that I call the John Mayer rule. So this is how John Mayer constructs an album, right? He says to himself, I'm going to make one song for me. I'm going to make one song for my audience. I'm going to make one song for me. And I felt like, Darren, honestly, just from like what I've lived, I needed to do that in order to not lose myself in the content creation process.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good counter to that, because yes, if you're only listening to your audience, you're doing what they're telling you to do, and it's monkey dance, right? But no, what I'm trying to get at though is you're still writing you or recording you or publishing you.
It's
hard.
But
your audience will tell you what worked for them. And the best way they can tell you is when they smash a like button or a share or a repost.
Right.
That's your feedback right there. Right. So if you have a video and it's all purple colors and it did nothing, but the next day all blue colors went viral, you better start looking at cyan.
Right. It's those little things, those little tiny indicators, but man, do they make a difference.
Yeah, I hope cyan is blue. Is that in the blue spectrum, or did color?
It is. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's neon blue.
All right.
Oh man.
Phthalo blue. There we go.
Oh man. Any other questions for us, Tony, while you're here?
Well, while I got you on, how many Celsius deep are you in? I remember you said you're gonna like crush these things.
Yeah, right now we're too deep, but I've still got another. We still got it quite a while. I was trying to save them for a little bit longer, because you know how it is. Once you break the seal, dude, you're pissing every 20 minutes. So I've been trying to pace myself a little bit. Ellie, where are my diapers? Get my fucking diapers. The ones so that I don't have to get up every 10 minutes.
Allow me to be the first one to applaud you. You guys are crushing it. Honestly, like I'm happy to be on. You guys are doing a great job. Keep the energy up, and I'll follow along through the live stream. All right.
Thanks, buddy.
Hi, Tony.
There we go.
Hey, Ellie.
What's up? Am I coming at the very end?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
1 minute left. Do you have anything you want to leave us with before your time cuts off?
Yeah, actually. I mean, sure. So, what if anybody who's listening to this, anybody who is trying to figure out like what they want to do, they're lost among all the crazy nonsense that exists out there in the world. Listen, let it all go, because right now, yeah, we are in a very crazy state as a country, as a world. Everything's high and tense, but what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right. And if you can find some peace and happiness and beauty in little things, like if you can create a video or a tweet or something that just happens to have a positive impact on somebody's day, you never know what kind of chain reaction.
What you focus on expands. So if you focus on the negative, it's going to expand. If you focus on the positive, it's going to expand.
Exactly. And so if you are struggling to figure out like where you want to go or what you want to do or anything, take a little chance on yourself, book a plane ticket, go try something new, get outside your comfort zone. And you never know how that could just change your entire life. It did for me. It's happened to so many people I know. So if you're listening to this and you hear that information,
Bye.
Oh,
Whatever he was gonna say.
You know what I like about that guy? You know what I like about Tony? He could have made it about himself, and he could have pitched his offer at the end, and he made it about us.
Yay,
That's a good guy.
Tony.
So go reach out to Tony, encourage him, and support him on Owwll. Go.
Give
go
him
on
a
the community
call.
tab.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Tony, do yourself a favor.
Well-
Take advantage of the community hub and make a post.
While I was gone, if anyone's just popping in, tuning right in now, what was the key takeaway from Tony?
The key takeaway from Tony. Do you want to share it, Darren? I mean, we got plenty of good
Yeah,
stuff.
Tony's a really awesome person, and he's creating some cool video content, and he's got a positive outlook. So that's someone you want to connect with in life.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like energy. Energy is such a big thing. I mean, like,
Energy, John.
she might be watching.
Good.
Mm.
Just kidding. Okay, sorry.
Reminds me
inside
of
joke.
butter. Reminds me of
Inside
butter.
joke. Inside joke.
Mm.
So let's see. Actually, guys, it's working. I have people messaging me like, how do I watch? How do I make a call? That they've never used Owwll. So
They've
it's
never used
cool.
Owwll. This is actually working.
I've been for fun story. I've been for a year trying to get all like my group of girlfriends to use the app. Like a lot of us are entrepreneurs or we have like little businesses or social media things and they just don't do it. Finally, after 1 year, my friend Sarah, she just randomly goes, "Hey, I finally downloaded Owwll and took some calls and it's amazing and I'm obsessed." And now she's reposting stuff and she's like just texted me the other day, "I just upgraded to a premium account." Like she loves it. Like she wants to get into acting and she was like, "I talked to an actor who said I could like meet up with him in LA." And like it's like so cool that it's finally after a year and a half of me being like, download it. People are finally listening. I don't know what's shifting, but maybe it's repetition of just putting it in someone's ear so many times that they finally hear you. I don't know, but
It's
pretty cool.
Imagine it's marketing.
Imagine.
Whoa, I guess. But I don't even consider like what I guess what we do is marketing, but like we don't here at Owwll, we don't frankly, we're looking for an investor and we don't have the budget right now to like put the money into marketing. So the marketing team is basically just like Jason and I and people that Jonathan
Big fans,
and
big
like
believers.
ambassadors like it's all just word of mouth and going to events and giving authentic testimonials. So I think it's pretty awesome that we've like built this brand literally with no marketing dollars, just pure videos, word of mouth.
But I think that's when you know you have a good thing, when you don't have to put a ton of money and the community shows up for it.
Yeah.
That's when you know you have a good thing, right? And then when you can get other people to believe in it, and then for those people to become your cheerleaders.
Yeah.
That's the like fuck marketing. Like if
Yeah.
you can find enough fans to tell people and be your cheerleaders, be the prophets that spread your word, you don't even need
I actually have a question for both of you guys, I guess. I asked you guys about my personal brand, like the music thing, but Owwll has also become a part of who I am and what I promote. And so I want to know, like, just from a LinkedIn perspective, how can I get basically I'm in charge of the brand ambassador program with us. I'm in charge of getting new users, downloads. So do you guys have any ideas of how I can leverage LinkedIn to get new people to join Owwll?
Yeah. So have you ever heard of this brand called Baskin Robbins?
Yes.
Why do you laugh?
34 flavors.
Because everyone knows Baskin Robbins.
All right, 31 flavors. And
I'm sorry, 31. You're
yeah.
right. That was close.
I'm fairly certain, but not 100%, so I don't get it wrong here, but fairly certain they're not really around anymore. And do you know why?
Why?
Because 31 flavors is a hell of a lot of flavors to confuse our simple brains to make a decision, right? So same thing comes to any social medias. You have to make it a one-stop mission. That's it. You need to be known for one and
Oh,
only
no, I
one
hate
call to
that
action.
answer.
How many times have I
No,
told that to you,
no,
Allie?
No.
How many times have we
But
said that?
okay, can I refute that point for a
Oh,
second?
here we go.
Okay.
You can refute it, but
But,
psychology
okay, but
will
listen
back us up.
though,
Darren, poor guy.
I'm the music girl, right? I'm the singer girl. But then I'm like, hey, if you guys want to call me and get in touch with me, how can you do it? Owwll. That's where I stream my communication for. I've been a singer for over 20 years. I'm a performer, but
Cool.
ask me about. I've taught singing lessons for years. I don't market it as much. I teach meditation. I don't really market that because I'm trying to hone in onto I am just a performer, even though I have all these other skills. But like, so Owwll to me and getting those downloads and stuff is more of like hey, I'm a singer and that's what I'm marketing myself as. And also I've gotten gigs and leads from Owwll. So like I tie it into the singing. So that's where I'm refuting it is like, I feel like I don't want to be limited. And I think that I can promote both and have them intertwine with each other.
So you're working with psychology here. You're working with other people and you're asking another person to make a choice. Now, there's one word that's extremely universal across most of the languages out there, but it's universally understood, and it's called no. It is a lot easier for someone to dismiss you and not get involved and not have to make a decision than it is for them to stay and engage. So what I would advise you
99.9% of the time.
Yeah, your profile should be Owwll focused. And then your banner, which has the biggest real estate, at least on LinkedIn, should be about Owwll. And you should have a call to action and your face in there. And then you can work some stuff about singing. But your purpose, at least with LinkedIn, is business. And your real purpose, the only reason for your profile and the only thing your profile should do, schedule a call with me. And then once you're in a conversation, tell them the world, tell them what you do, tell them your birthday, your horoscope, whatever you want.
Got it.
But you have to make it so easy for someone to just click on that funnel decision of meet
Remove
with
the
me.
resistance.
And that's it.
So,
Remove all resistance.
but then like in terms of like the birthday thing, like he was mentioning, right? Like message those people, the CEOs about like the birthday messages. Would you say don't do that then?
I still think it's a really good option for you on the outbound strategy.
Okay.
For you putting in the work to say, hey, Bob, happy birthday. I saw blah, blah, blah. And then you do your thing. That then gets Bob or his team to click on your profile, which says one and only one thing, meet with you based on Owwll.
Got it. Got it. So then it's like, hey, Bob, connect with me. Like, if you want to get a song for your business, like, call me on Owwll, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
But if you look at my profile, the only thing I'm telling you to do is meet with me in a link because we're all trained to using links. And then if you miss that and scroll down, my services, meet with me. My feature, meet with me. In case you forgot it in my about me.
Why would I want to meet with you? Because I want to see like cool content of yours first before I meet with you because I don't know who you are.
They saw your best content, your voice.
Oh. But so Darren, like, so then what do you do? Like when you say the meet with me thing, is it your podcast that you share so then they can get to know you or what?
Originally it was, but now that I've pivoted towards brand built my community, it is now about scheduling in my Calendly. So the second you click on meet with me, path of least resistance, it opens up my Calendly and it gives you the opportunity to pick a date to join one of my small group networking sessions.
But why would they meet with you in the first? Like, do you have like videos or posts on your page that would entice them to get to know you before they schedule the call? Because no one's just going to click meet with me unless they're enticed by you.
That is correct. So they've either seen me in my content as a lurker or an active contributor or commenter, or they were referred to my profile, or they saw my services page or my featured videos.
Right.
And
so
also
all of the above.
Let's remember that it's typically not the first interaction. It could go like this. It could be that you send the video, you get no response. They watch for 2 more weeks, other stuff that you're posting because now you guys are connected. And then just out of the blue on a Friday, they decide to reach out to you. There's just no way of knowing when they'll be ready. But what I follow, and it just helps me, is they say it takes 10 interactions to make a sale.
Yeah.
So if I can, have some software that maybe congratulates them for another year at their job or the birthday thing, or maybe I, even the little things like supporting them in like one of their sections and saying they're a great public speaker or whatever, if you've seen some of their content, that's a great way of also capturing their attention. But it's all these little micro touch points.
So I want to do a quick plug and also get the LinkedIn expert's opinion on this. So we recently connected with Click to AI. I don't know if you've heard of it, but Click to with Bob. I think his name is Bob. Is Click to AI's name Bob? Jason? Forget. This is Bob, right? Okay. So we Click to AI is a new service where essentially you're scrolling on LinkedIn and you're still manually kind of making the comment, but you're using AI to make it. So like if it's not like I'm just getting bots to comment on a bunch of people, but I'm scrolling through, I see different profiles. And then rather than like taking the time to think of the comment and type it out myself, I just click on the button and I can say like funny or clever, and I can put it in a different voice. I can put it in my voice, blah, blah, blah. And then, so then you can get volume wise, make a lot more comments because you don't have to think. And so I'm just curious what you guys think about that strategy, because I did it one day for like 20 minutes and I did get a lot of notifications and like just, I don't know, just activity, I guess, after doing that. So
I feel like I have a weird response to this. So if you want to go first, Darren, feel free.
Yeah. Don't cheat. The best way for you to get real, true connections, you get people to buy your product or service, is being you. A lot of sales is about timing. So imagine Bob sent a comment or something happened and that person that they sent it to responded, but you're not there. Timing is everything in sales. So I think your next guest is on, and I'm probably going to see the hook very soon.
So, and to piggyback, Darren, what you said is exactly right. I look at that, like that stage of my process, like you're handling a baby. This is a very sensitive thing. So like, I want that human touch point, because I want to be able to demonstrate that I'm a human because I know how important
but this software, I actually think it's like similar to ChatGPT, but even better. So I'm finding that these comments,
what is your
these
intention?
comments are giving me better ideas than my own brain.
But that's also the problem.
Yeah.
Because now they're not your actual words. It's not how you actually feel. If your intent was to impress whoever you're commenting on, awesome. That makes sense. But if I'm trying to make a connection with the person, I don't know that I can make it in the same way as if I'm writing 3 sentences. I feel like if you're writing a whole post and you need some help because you want a hook that's going to capture people's attention, I'm all for like the AI. But for some reason, when it comes to something as small as a comment, where I feel like a real human connection can make a difference here, I want to
see. The thing that's funny is when I just comment myself, I'm just like, amazing! Exclamation point! Congrats! And with this, it's like gives way more insightful.
Well, then why don't
amazing things?
So like a consideration is like, how did the post make you feel? How did the post make you feel? Because that is going to make the author, if they see it, feel appreciated. If you just tell people, your post made me feel like this, your post inspired me to take this action, that is going to resonate so much more than a paragraph of thought leadership adding to it,
Okay.
Yeah. So Ellie, I'll leave you with this. If you need help, guidance on LinkedIn, there's always a community you can join, which will educate you on the best practices. And that's called Brand Built.
Woo! Brand. Oh, do you need a theme song? Brand Built. It's already good alliteration there. So
actually, I'm a fan of alliteration. So you and I we are now connected on LinkedIn. We will talk.
I added you on LinkedIn and on Instagram. So yes.
That's okay.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This was awesome.
Thank you guys. This was fun. It was exciting. As you can see, my dog's barely moved. I think about 4 inches and flopped over there. So Joy, enjoy this.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Who do we have here? Is that Joy?
It sure is.
Like if a name could fit somebody better, I couldn't find him.
Oh, thank you.
So for those of you who may not know Joy, okay, this woman is not human. Like the amount of marathons that she has run, kids, business, nothing stops her. So You just want like the human spirit personified in like, I don't know, 5'7", 5'8" human. You got Joy.
You're
So
about
Joy,
right. Yeah.
so Joy, tell everybody about you. And we are here and we're podcasting for the next 20-something hours or so. So if you want to join.
Amazing. I'm so impressed. That is quite the endurance challenge. I don't know how you do it. When do you start popping the Red Bulls and the caffeine?
Oh, we've had 2 Celsius.
Okay.
But yeah, we're getting deep. So how's everything been with you?
It's going good. I have a pretty good story, growth mindset story to come off of. I just got back from France last week competing in the Ironman World Championship, and it was a heartbreaker. And we'll get into all the lessons learned there that apply to business and life. But it's always the reminder, it's better to love and lose than to never love at all. And, it's something I've been having to process, a mild concussion as well. But, so if I get a little loopy, you're going to have to jump in here. I don't know if I can concentrate for 2 hours.
We're concussion
I already
buddies.
feel like, there's going to be some synchronicity.
Concussion buddies.
We were just talking about his concussion in the car ride. You and I were. And like with the whole broken legs situation. And like, I feel like this theme of injury and endurance and changing your personality and so it's like it's all gonna be exactly.
Oh, we'll work it. Wait, so I didn't hear what happened. What happened with what's this broken leg?
Legs.
So remember how I said when we were at the first like $1 million weekend with Cindy, and this is kind of meta for those of you who are watching. A bunch of LinkedIn influencers, Joy, all of them, and I was talking about going to Amsterdam. So I didn't have a chaperone, Joy. Remember Natalie was with me last. This is what happens when John doesn't have a chaperone. He somehow managed to be in Amsterdam in a wrestling ring, and he tore both of his quads off the bone. No friends, no family. So a homie ended up in a hospital in a foreign country and had to find a way to get home in a couple of days because he had nowhere to go.
Meaning you, yeah.
Yeah, me. So anyways, long story short, got surgery the same day. They stitched my quads back to my legs. And then we had a little recovery. Now we're walking like nothing happened 4 months ago. So it's been a massive, massive blessing.
Holy cow. Yeah. And the foreign hospital, it's scary because I went to the French foreign hospital and everyone's like speaking and you have no idea what they're saying. It's so scary.
Okay, so now we need to get into that.
Joy, I want to hear Joy's story.
Yeah, like what happened, Joy? What happened in France? I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it's kind of what we wanted to talk about for the first part of this segment is, it's so important that we're constantly challenging ourselves. We have to be responsible when we challenge ourselves, Jonathan. But, and for me, when people go back and they ask, well, how did you build such a large following on LinkedIn? This was a big part of it, right? So just to refresh people who might be coming across the feed that don't know, it was only a few years ago I decided I wanted to grow my mindset through physical challenge. So, I thought, well, I've never run a marathon. Let me challenge myself that way. And, that was the beginning of really being introduced to what it meant, mind over matter and pushing yourself and the training and, all the things that go into it. And I did that first marathon in Hawaii. And then while we were flying over, which I didn't know, it was the iconic swim start for the Ironman World Championship. The Kailua Bay there, the helicopter pilot says, so what's next, an Ironman? And I was like, sure, thinking, yeah, I'm hooked on this growth mindset thing. But then when I went back and Googled it, I was like, oh, like there's no way. I can barely walk from this marathon. I can't imagine swimming and biking and then doing a marathon, especially since I had no background in swimming or cycling. But I committed to doing a half distance. And that's when I took everybody on the journey on, growth and all the things I learned. And it was actually somebody on LinkedIn, shout out to Gordon, who I was going to chicken out and not do that first half. And he's messaged me and said, so what's the first one you're doing? When are you doing it? And I was like, oh, shoot, accountability, I've got to do it now. And, so that's what's so important too, I think, about having a community on LinkedIn is when we put ourselves out there with the right motive, it keeps us accountable, right? Because we know that there are people that are going to be checking in with us that are watching our journey. And there's nothing worse than being an influencer that doesn't practice what you preach, because you'll quickly be called out as being a fraud.
Oh yeah. And Joy, I want to touch on something really important, because I feel like for the audience, like this is really good for them to see. And it's something that we've been talking about throughout the day. You, when you were building your brand, you know, the way that I introduce you, it's like you're really, really known for many things, but specifically that one thing, it's the marathon running, right? Like what we've been talking about is kind of like picking a lane and then being known for something, being like the best at something. So when I would make videos, I was known for my video editing, and now it's turning into I'm known for the 24-hour podcast, right? But I feel like when you pick a very like hyper specific lane and you're known for something, it really helps take that brand to the next level. It grows faster. Do you feel like that was true early in your process?
Oh, it absolutely was, because, you know, I was really along the way too, you know, people knew me as for like my Fitness Friday and encouraging people to be active, to be moving. Anything's better than nothing, you know. I mean, obviously I'm not telling people go do an Ironman, right? But I'm saying just move for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and just the consistency, because out of that comes lessons that roll over to business, roll over to relationships, to life. And it's that consistency, showing up, you know, realizing, you know, there's a law of thirds in all parts of life, which is whether it's training or business, you know, 1/3 of the time it's going to be average, you know, whatever you're trying, or a training session or what you're approaching. 1/3 of the time you're going to like fail, and it's going to be like, oh my goodness, this didn't go right. And then 1/3 of the time you're going to have the win. And so as long as you stay in that mindset that, you know what, this failure isn't bad, it's just a 1/3 of a part of it. 1/3 is okay, and 1/3 is going to be the win. And you don't get caught up in thinking that every day's got to be out of the park, you know. Everything you try or do is going to be out of the park, and you leave it in that 1/3 mindset. And, you know, that applies to so much. But totally to your point, I think if you can niche in on something and be known for something, which for me, it's like pursuing a growth mindset through physical challenge, it definitely helps you build your brand, and it's something people can associate you with, because it translates to being a mom to 5 kids, to growing a business, to everything, right? It takes realizing that being uncomfortable is necessary in order to grow.
Right. And I do want to touch on that, because like I don't know what makes extraordinary people special when it comes to this, but I almost feel like it's like their ability to overcome or face those scary things. Because there's so many people, like I kind of experienced it when I was getting on a plane last time. Like out of nowhere, Joy, I just decided one day I'm afraid of flying now. Like just like came out of nowhere. I've flown my whole life, no problem. Maybe it was the injury, I don't know. But now I'm afraid to fly. So for like a week, I was like, I'm going to drive to Texas. I don't care if it takes 25 hours. I'm going to drive to Texas. I'm not getting on a flight for 3 hours. There's no way. I'm scared, right? And so I'm going back and forth, and I'm like, maybe I can take the train. Maybe I could drive half, take the train the rest, because I was paralyzed by the idea of flying. And then I thought to myself, everything that I want to accomplish in my life is on the other side of this airport. So I better pick up my shit and grow up real fast and get on this flight unmedicated, because I'm never going to be able to do what I want to do unless I overcome this thing. And I just feel like the people that win are able to look at that fear in the face and say, I'm not going to allow this to get in the way of what I want to accomplish in my life. And they just fucking do it, you know? So can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you know, it's one of those things, and the reason I always go back to physical is because physical is so black and white when you're challenging yourself. No one can do it for you. You can't cheat. No one's going to get you out of it. It's just you and your body and your mind. And
you versus you.
It's a constant war of mind over body, mind over body. And one of the things we learn is to just, you know, there's no pain. It's just a sensation. And so if you don't assign that sensation is bad, then the fatigue or the pain setting in, it's not bad. It's just the sensation that you're working hard, that maybe you're having a race like you've never had before. And wow, I've never felt this sensation, but it doesn't mean it's bad. It's not going to stop me. It's just a new sensation that I've never felt before. And when you can start to apply those types of mind tricks, the same thing, it rolls over to other things that'll happen to us, you know, and pushing through. And absolutely, on the other side of fear, confidence is waiting. And when you know that, you jump through, and that feeling on the other side is so amazing. And, you know, it applies to everything in life.
I'm curious, Joy, were you an athlete growing up? Like, when
Ooh,
did
good
you
question.
make this
Good question.
decision? Like you mentioned, you have 5 children and you're working and all these things. When did you decide that you were going to embark on this challenge?
Yeah. So I was always athletic. I had 2 brothers, and I'm thankful for them. They made me rough and tough, but I never played any high level sports. College, I just played like, intramural, nothing high level, and especially not swimming. And it's so hard for an adult to learn. I mean, I knew how to swim for fun, recreational, but when you talk about swimming, like 2.4 miles in the ocean freestyle, that's a whole nother like level of learning to swim. And there's a lot of fear you have to overcome. A lot of people have panic attacks. Even swimmers have panic attacks because you're thrown in the ocean and it's so scary. And then cycling, you got to learn to clip in, you got to learn, all the things. And like, especially this last race I just did, we were on the Maritime Alps, Tour de France course. It was insanely challenging and hard and scary on the descents. And, so it's just been a learning. And that's the other thing that I think why people related to me on LinkedIn is, you're never too old to start learning stuff. That's what keeps the neuroplasticity going. Is I started this journey, I think 44. I was 44, but to start learning new skills and be okay with looking stupid and being new at stuff when you're 44, if you're willing to do that, it like gives this next level of youth again, right? Because it's like you're going backwards mentally, especially, and physically. You start to see changes in yourself and your confidence grows. And it truly is the fountain to youth, to totally be always learning, always putting yourself out there. And I think that's why I'm so hooked on this physical challenge thing in order to grow, because it's the fountain of youth.
But what was it about, like, I guess when you were making that initial decision at 44 years old, like, was it just you thinking about your brand? Like, what can I do to have a growth mindset and show people? Or was it like, because you could have done stand-up comedy or something instead, right? Like,
I just don't.
What was it like about,
Before
like,
Joy answers that, I don't want to insult her in any way, and I know that was not your intention in any way, but I feel like most people cannot manufacture that. Like, Joy didn't say it, but I almost guarantee she was just like, I needed something to do and I started documenting it. It wasn't like, how can I get people's attention? She just did it and it worked.
Well, I just know, but I want to know, like, what was it like? You just started running a little bit. Like, where did it come from? Because, like, again, like, for me, it's like, okay, I play pickleball once and then I'm like, I'm hooked. Like, where was that initial spark? Like, where did that come from? Like, at 44, like, did you go from like never running to just like running all of a sudden? Like, how did it develop, I guess, is more.
No, I was always healthy. I worked out consistently, but it was an average, just maybe like running 3 to 5 miles max, nothing crazy, just like.
That's still a little crazy. That's how you know she's lost.
No, but I get it. 3 miles. Like, I hate running, and I would still run 3 miles.
I can't run 5 miles
on the treadmill. I would do like 3 miles. But anyway, I want to know, because that's what they say. Like, do at least 3 miles. That's just what the.
Yeah, well, and still the hardest is the 3 to 5. If you can get past 5, that's like when the engine starts to warm up, because you're still warming up.
Doing 3 to 5 already, and then at 44, you just said, like, now I'm gonna go harder. Like, what was it?
Yeah, I said I'm gonna start. Well, that's really when I started on LinkedIn too. And coming through my feed was all this talk of growth mindset and challenging yourself. And honestly, there's all these people offering these personal development courses, and they're so expensive. Mm-hmm. And now I go back and I'm like, look, before you even get a personal development coach, go run a marathon, because it's a lot cheaper. You're going to challenge yourself so much more. And then if you decide to take a coach on, you'll be so much farther down the road to start, because you're truly going to understand what it means to, break yourself down and challenge yourself and do scary stuff.
I love that.
Yeah. And so, that's how it just kind of came. And I never thought it would keep going to, to get into the Ironman distance, which that's insane. That's a 2.4 mile swim and then 112 mile bike. And then you do a full marathon all in one day.
My God.
So, the full circle moment was after just trying to say, hey, can I complete these? That was my biggest goal. Let me just finish this. I was able to come back last year and actually qualify and compete in the World Championship there in that same day that I flew over, just a few years before, and thought, wow, it's insane. I could never do something like this. So it was a real full circle moment to be in the World Championship there and kind of.
Wow. Do you agree? I don't know if this is one of the 4 agreements, but it might be, or it might be something else. But they say like how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like that really, everything that you're explaining, it just reminds me of that quote a lot. Like how you said that, once you run, then that transfer, once you go the not just run, but go to the extremes and break down your body and all of this, like then your mental state and your capacity to go that extra mile, pun intended,
Yeah.
in all aspects of your life really shifts. So would you agree with that statement?
Oh, absolutely. And it's something that later on it was unfortunate, but literally just a few months after one of my world championship races, I found myself on a ventilator, waking up in the hospital. And I really think had I not had that mental strength and knowing, all the tips and tricks that you put, I don't know how I would have handled that. As opposed to as I did, because I told them, I wanted to be on the ventilator awake. I said, do not knock me out again. I know how dangerous those can be.
Was the ventilator from like overtraining or what?
No, it was just a health. It was a health.
Oh, okay. It was separate.
Health situation. Yeah. And so, being able, because I don't know if anybody who's ever been on a ventilator, it feels like you're being waterboarded. That's why they always knock you out and they don't let you be awake. But I didn't want any decisions made without me knowing. And so I laid there awake on it, and I was able to glean from all the things I had learned through endurance sports. And so that's an example of when it comes to people who fight cancer, who overcome, real life challenges, to have that mindset already there and strong is so important. It's so, so important. And I can't stress it enough that you're building that in your life.
And was the mental stamina that you experienced and that you learned, like, was that simply from just doing the work and continuing, or did you have throughout this process coaches and people like, maybe meditation, learning those aspects of things, or just other wellness training from other people?
Yeah, no, it's definitely who you surround yourself with. And I tell everybody, you really have to up your baseline of who you surround yourself with, right? So, the typical average person, if they were to hear how much I train or these distances, they look at it and it's like, wow, that's so crazy. But my baseline became, as I stepped into surrounding myself with people who do this, starting a podcast where I was actually interviewing Olympians, the, professional world champions, all these people that were like way up here. All of a sudden, when I looked at what I was doing, it became very pedestrian, right? Like nothing my coach gave me to do or anything made me feel like, oh, that's too hard. Because I was now comparing myself to what they do. And I'm like, no, this is doable. This is actually minimal. And when you shift, whether it's in business as well, when you surround yourself, like they say, surround yourself with people that have money and are, they have the wisdom of how to grow a business, how to grow whatever you want to grow. When you start surrounding yourself with people that are already successful there and you change your baseline, that's going to have a huge impact on you. And I'm really big on who you surround yourself with, because it totally changes, your
Yes, me too. I'm just learning now that I've always been big on who you surround yourself with, but like more recently, I've just been the universe. Like I keep getting this message of just finding a mentor as well, because like for so long, it's like, okay, I have this dream of going on tour, like in the music industry. And I realized, like someone pointed it out to me, I don't have anyone in my life that's actually done that before.
Yeah.
So like, how am I going to succeed at this, like when I don't have anyone to talk to that's actually like accomplished what I'm trying to accomplish? So that's kind of what I'm manifesting and calling in right now. So it's interesting that you say that you were like actually talking to these Olympians, and I'm sure that helped motivate you. But I'm curious too, from a marketing perspective, and you say you have this podcast and there are so many people out there that are have their own podcasts or starting a podcast and probably wondering, how did you get access to those Olympians? Like, was it just through your LinkedIn following? Because I know, like, I'm curious too. Just how did you get them to come on your podcast?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. So it actually was kind of through, like you said, through LinkedIn, a connection with somebody who was starting a new community in triathlon, and he was going to be sponsoring some of the professionals. And we actually met at a race. But my first message to him was through LinkedIn. We met, we connected. He shared with me his vision of what he was going to be doing. And I was like, how can I help support this community? And we came up with the idea, how about I do a podcast, right? To these professionals. And so then, because he was, starting off sponsoring some of these professionals, I was able to start with them. And then it's really easy once you start, networking and getting to know them, then they know others. And then people see, you're interviewing top professionals. And it's super cool the way the networking just starts to learn. But yeah, LinkedIn was a big part of that. And I always say, as you build your following on social media, it becomes a currency. It really does in so many ways.
I think, that's really great advice. I'm just taking that and like getting my own ideas for my own business, because I feel like for me, like there aren't, maybe in my mind, I had this limiting belief that like most artists and creatives are not as much on LinkedIn and they're more on Instagram. But I feel like Instagram, it's so much harder to access people and they don't really respond to their DMs.
Hey, Ellie. So there's this musician that I know on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
That has literally made millions of dollars. Literally millions of dollars. And she's a singer on LinkedIn. Can you believe that? So it is.
Yeah, no. So like,
I work
just
for
this
one of
whole
those.
stream today is
worked for
opening my eyes to just like the possibilities, and even you just sharing that story and like reaching out and someone actually responding to you, and obviously meeting in person helps. But I do think for whatever reason, like LinkedIn is less saturated maybe, and people are more likely to respond on that platform.
Right. And I'll go back. One of the favorite phrases that I came up with, and it's not original. I forget where I saw it, but no one else really seems to talk about it a lot. But it's called the concept of aggressive patience. So aggressive patience is the concept that you're working on you're working on growing, you're working on all these things I'm talking about, even though you're not necessarily sure where or when or how it's going to pay off. You're just doing one thing each day that's high performing, right? It's one thing that the average person wouldn't do, because high performers don't become high performers every night. It's like this is where my concussion brain is going. It's
kind of like almost like a compounding effect. Would you say?
Compounding effect. Yes, thank you, Jonathan.
We got the same brain. I know.
all the little things that add up. And so, had I not been already doing all that to this point, right? Who would I have been to reach out to this person? I wouldn't have been at this rate.
You wouldn't have the confidence probably internally, and that's just going and showing up to the races and putting yourself there, then actually put you around the right people
you
too.
have to already be moving. It's so much easier to move to steer a ship that's moving than one that's just sitting still, right? So I was already chasing and doing the things to become that. And to be able to interview these people, you kind of have to understand the sport. You have to understand the challenge, understand the emotions. So I had to kind of become that person too, to be able to be a host of that.
I love that. It's so funny because we've been to a lot of different events together, but I never actually got the chance to hear your full story. So I'm impressed. This is really awesome to hear like the details.
Thank you. And so I'll share my latest lesson. Up to this point, every race, while it might not have gone exactly like I wanted, I finished every race. Some of them I was able to, get on the podium, do well, qualify, meet my goals. But I took for granted finishing it, right? And I think it's a lesson. One of the lessons we want to pull from that is sometimes we never sit back and just give ourselves credit for what we're doing, right? We're always looking to the next thing. We're always
like
it's good enough, right? Like we're almost there, but we're not quite there, and we can't even celebrate this goal that we finished, right?
Oh my God. I had actually a therapist one time tell me that. I didn't even realize I was doing that. Like I'd be like, okay, I put out a music video, like next thing, Like, I didn't even celebrate. Like, I did that. I accomplished that. Like, never. I was never, ever celebrating. Like, it was always just like future, next. Didn't get to, like, I don't know. It's so crazy that we
Yeah, yeah.
forget to just like say good job to ourselves.
Right, to celebrate. And so that's what
Yeah.
happened. That's what happened in this, in this race. I worked, when you say you're training for something, you're training hours. I mean, I train pretty much 22 hours a week. So you break that down to long weekends, and it's a lot. It's 4 to 5 hours a day. Some days 7, 8 hours a day. So it's a lot of training, and you put all your heart and soul into it. And for this one particularly, training on the mountain, long, I was doing 100-milers like every week, followed by 10-mile runs. I mean, just like tons of training. And you put all your heart into this, and on the mountain, a girl cut me off. I ended up banging my head off of the curb. We were only 55 miles in. Most of the climbing was done, which was good. But what was left was the really fast, technical, dangerous descents. And because it wasn't super high speed when this happened, it was kind of like on this crazy little U-turn. I jumped back on the bike. A French guy was standing there. He helped me put my chain back on. My knee was a little banged up, but nothing was too crazy. So I just jumped on to keep going. But by the time I got to those descents, I mean, everything was swirling, and it was so.
Oh my God, I'm getting anxiety just listening to you talk about.
You'll have to see some of the pictures. Of course. I mean, because there was like these huge canyons, and there was like some of them didn't even have walls. They just had like these little bricks, and it was like you make one wrong turn going at these speeds, and it's all over. So anyway, I ended up just focusing as hard as I could to get through the bike. It's the hardest bike I've ever done. And then when I got to the run, you get your bag to change into your run stuff. And I remember just staring at my bag, and I was like, why do I have 2 pairs of socks? I had compression sleeves and then socks, but I kept thinking, why do I have 2 pairs of socks? Which ones do I put on? I mean, I get so disoriented. And then I started the run, saw my coach. Then on the second lap, I was like, where's my husband? I didn't see him on the course. And she's like, Joy, your husband isn't here. Your mom came with you. And I was like, oh, and then I was like, why are all these people calling my name? And she was like, Joy, your name's on your bib. There's a lot of people here that are calling your name that you don't know. And I was like, I was just so confused.
Wow, that's so scary.
I know it got really scary. And this course, especially the run course, it was 4 loops. So there was tons of just crowd and cheers. And like when, it was just so like overwhelming. And then when I got to the other turnaround, she was running to find me because a doctor, that's her friend, she texted, he said, you need to take her off because if her concussion's bad, she can't finish running on that, can make it worse. But by then I had already like wandered off the course and was just like wandering down the promenade looking for my husband. And my coach was like, Joy, yeah, we're done. But it was later then we went to the med tent, we went to the hospital. And then that night, like at 1:30 in the morning, I got back to get all my stuff. And the last finisher was coming through. And I just stood there bawling, like just crying, like, all my hard work, everything, like just, you feel like it was for nothing.
It reminds me of like the Simone Biles Olympic story. Wow, she got the twisties, and think about it. This is her whole life, or the Olympic athletes who they got COVID that year of 2020, and this whole thing they worked for, like they tested positive. They didn't even feel sick, and now they can't compete. Like my heart just breaks for those people. I can't even. I mean, coming back from that is really truly a lesson.
No, it is. And that's all in perspective because I mean, there were pros there that day that had tragedies happen. And, like you're saying, that's their life, that's their livelihood. Now they're not paycheck. And, you're trying to process all of that. I even had Joe Malloy is an Olympian triathlete from before, and he sent me a video message. So sweet. And I was like feeling dumb kind of because I'm like, dude, you were in the Olympics. That's so next level. It's so sweet that you would feel sorry for me still. This isn't quite compare, but you put all your heart into something. And the biggest lesson from that I'm still processing is like what I started with, we were talking about is it doesn't matter the result, right? It's that you had the courage to show up. You had the courage to put all of yourself into something. And even though you didn't get the results, it doesn't mean it was a failure. Like there's still so many lessons there learned that you're going to take back. And you still did the hardest bike course on the circuit. Like you should be so proud of the half out of it. You should be so proud of that you did get 10 miles into the run. You almost got halfway through the marathon in that condition. Like you're telling yourself all these things. And just on the way back on the plane too, God puts like a legend in the sport, was on the plane with me. She's the one that's known for like crawling across the finish line. I'm going to have her on the podcast from way back when Ironman first started. She's a legend. And so he put her in my path. She encouraged me. There was another pro on the plane that I knew. She encouraged, that had a bad day. And it was just neat how God kept putting people in my life. Just on the way home, it just reminded me, Joy, I still care about you, even though it didn't go like you wanted. I care about you, and I'm putting these people to encourage you and to remind you that you still had a win, even though it didn't look like you thought it would. And that applies to all areas of life, right? The failure is sometimes our biggest lesson, and in that case, it's the biggest win. So it's not just winning that gives you the result you want. That's for sure.
I also think that God just like picks special people to have them go through certain things, because I feel like individuals like yourself, like we have the ability to create stories around this. Like let's say hypothetically everything worked out perfect, right? Like you trained for the race that you were really passionate about and you won. That's incredible. But I always kind of frame it when I'm going through a struggle mentally, just for me. This just helps me. But it's like I think about movies. I'm like, if the movie was I run the race and I win, holy shit, how boring is that?
Yeah.
Where's like I can't go on a TED Talk stage and talk about how I ran a race and I just won it. But man, if I could talk about the feelings that I had in the moment when I fell, or the moments that I experienced when I was in the hospital room, or the recovery that came after that. I'm a big believer. Put me in the back row of a plane where all the action is, where like the bathroom broke, because I have stories to tell. If I'm sitting in first class and everything's smooth, where's the life in that? Where's the life in that? I want to feel and experience life. And I feel like sometimes it's in those moments of vulnerability. So I think it's still a win. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the whole switch in the mindset that I talk about. It's that, you see once you can make that switch in your mind that every struggle, every disappointment, everything in our life is an opportunity to grow, and you're going to now be stronger, then it switches how you handle everything, right? And it switches your growth and who you are and helps you not get bitter. And it changes so many things. And that's what I encourage people who really struggle, who are bitter or angry. I'm like, go back and see, how did you grow from that? How could you grow from that? How could you help somebody else who had that tragedy happen to them, the same thing that you did, and share how you got through it? Now you actually have an opportunity to help people. And it's so important that we see life that way. And that's why I'm really a big proponent of the growth mindset, because it changes everything for you.
I'm curious. I know that you had mentioned you have 5 kids, and I didn't realize that about you either before. And just curious, like the family dynamic and balance of when I don't know how old they are as well, but like putting in all these hours training and just how you manage all of that. Like, do you have extra help for the kids? Because I'm someone like in my 30s now, and just like debating, like, okay, I obviously need to meet the man first, but like having this big dream that I've always had, and wondering, like, are kids part of the equation? Like, I would only want to have kids if I have the money to get a nanny so I can still pursue like my dream, so that's like where my mindset is. So I'm just wondering, like, I'd love to just hear how you balance like all of that.
Yeah. So I will say, having kids isn't for everybody, but if somebody were to ask me, I would say nothing in life is going to make you become more unselfish of a person than having kids. Right. And so once again, that's your chance to grow, because all of a sudden, for someone, especially as the woman, you're carrying them. If you choose to be their sole nutrition and feed them, like, you literally give up your body over and over and over to this little being that could break your heart one day, or, all of a sudden your heart's out there and something could happen to them, and you have to learn how to manage trusting and, not being anxious over there. I mean, it's just like so many life lessons come from being a parent, it's unbelievable. So like, besides the fact of, loving this incredible human being, you as a person are going to become, such an incredible, different, person because you have kids. And then multiple kids as well will definitely challenge you because you've got to learn how to juggle all the things. And then, as they get older, like mine are older now. When I first started this, we still had 4 at home, but
Okay.
they were starting to, but they were at
Really in
least,
high school or?
yeah, high school. So at least I had some drivers to help with the younger ones to pick them up from school and stuff like
Got
that.
it.
But now we're down to 2 one's in college, but living at home still. And then one's a senior in high school. And everybody's driving. So that makes it
Okay.
easy. But, I will say, with older kids, it's not any easier because still they have their friends over on the weekend. They have the parties. They're not home till late at night. Like it's not like you can go to bed early because you're not going to go to bed until those kids are home and you still have the sports and, all the things. So it's still a lot. But yeah, I would say it's helped me as a parent now, as my kids are starting to leave, kind of have my own identity and not be wrapped up in, okay, the kids are leaving now, what? And then also, I think to the kids, it's been such a lesson of, instead of saying, hey, you can go do anything you want to be, chase your dreams, whatever, they can look at me and say, well, did you model that? Well, so lessons are caught, not taught. So here I am modeling somebody chasing their dream, doing the hard things. And they can look at that and be like, man, if mom at her age can go do those things, maybe I can go be whoever I want to be or do whatever I want to do, or, all those lessons. So as parents, it's so important that we model, what we want our kids to do and chase, not just tell them they can do it, because lessons are caught. They're not going to just listen. Yeah.
How do you stay awake? Like, are you, I'm literally just like, I'm amazed. Like, do you drink a lot of coffee, Celsius? Is it just the pure, like, so the endorphins that you're working out so much that they just keep you awake?
It's a combination. I try to really and the good thing about being in a sport too is you really become in tune with your body. It's helped me catch a lot of health issues because I am so in tune with my body. Food becomes fuel, sleep becomes golden. The recovery, all the things, you really start to appreciate how incredible the human body is. And when you treat it right, what its potential is. And, that's the other thing I encourage people. I'm like, you have like way more than an expensive sports car. So stop treating it like, it's a little motor scooter. Like, go treat it right and take it for the ride that it was meant to.
I love that you're sharing this because like it's so heavy on my heart right now. So like a quad injury, when you tear your quads, they say theoretically it can take up to a year to fully recover, right? And like somehow we were able to do it in 4 months, and that's a crazy thing to accomplish. And I definitely got like when I'd go in for physical therapy, the doctor was like, what the hell? How are you able to do this? When you have been training for 20 years, consistently missing maybe 10 days at a time at most, your mind muscle connection, and people don't understand this. I can feel my quads. And I knew exactly how much of it was torn when I got injured, and I knew how much of it wasn't. And for people that really haven't spent the time, like it is like that. Like I have a relationship with my quads. I know when they're firing and when they're not, when something's off and when something's not. And from all of the years of training, my body knew exactly what to do to recover. Yeah. I didn't necessarily, physical therapy was great as a motivator, but I knew exactly what to do. And it was the craziest thing. My body knew exactly how to heal. And it happened so fast because I'm so in tune with it.
Yeah.
So can you speak to that a little bit?
No, that's such a great point, Jonathan. It's such a great point because, part of the process too is, I'm close to, I'll be 49 here in a month. And so also I'm having to take into effect, I need more recovery time. I need more massage. I need more PT. Every time there's a niggle, it's getting to the bottom of what's causing this. So like you said, it's staying in tune, but the more you do that, the more fascinated you become with our body is amazing. Yeah. It's an amazing machine, and most of us never even get to the fraction of taking advantage of what it's capable of. And it's more important than spending all your money on purses and clothes and all these things. Like, who cares? Anybody can go get all that, right? But not everybody can take care of their body and maybe push it to some limits, like the people that take the time to appreciate
Right.
what it's really
Fun
made of.
fact, sorry. LeBron James spends $1 million a year to maintain that physical specimen of a body that he has.
Wow.
Wow. It's a true thing. He uses like a hyperbolic chamber, all that. I mean, the guy's 40, putting up still 30 points a game. I mean, all-time great. I mean, as a testament to you, Joy, Manny, by the way, I just wanted to say that your story is very inspiring. Really inspiring.
Thank you.
I know. I can't believe I didn't know. Like, I knew. I'm just like, oh, she's the running woman. Like, that's literally how I thought of you in my mind. And like when we went to the
Wait.
what?
Say that again. You knew her as what?
The running woman.
So you knew her for one specific thing?
Ha ha ha. Okay.
Branding.
Yeah.
She's so mad.
But
She's so mad right now. She's so
Okay.
mad. 'Cause I've had 4 marketing experts, branding experts admit that one thing.
But
is
like,
why you
but
went.
now, but I didn't know you really like in your story, like really that much. And now it's just really cool getting to like when we were at the mansion, like I remember we're like driving in and you're like, hey guys, and you're like on your phone and I'm like, who is this Energizer Bunny person? Like
Wait a second.
I can't even.
Ellie, let me enjoy my moment here. Watch me while I say this. It's like, okay, so what I'm catching from this is when you're starting out your journey, you're known for one specific thing, and then over time you can start showing other sides of
Yes.
yourself.
Oh.
And then over time you get known for many things. But in the beginning, easiest thing is be known as that one thing, and then we can branch out as we gain
As
followers.
later. Yeah, okay. No, I see your point. I still am probably gonna market both singing and owl, but thank you.
We can't win them
Because
all.
I think they're too related.
Can't win them all.
I mean, maybe we'll see. But you just give me more advice on it. But what is I'm just like picking your brain so much. I feel like I've asked a million questions.
No, I love it.
But look, all these different things that you're sorry, my brain just like I didn't get a concussion. So I don't know what's wrong with me.
No.
But
For the audience, we've been streaming for 6.5 hours. So to be
That's a
fair,
lot.
Okay.
we're already there.
So
These are rookies.
no, I know what I'm gonna say actually. So of all these modalities, I'm assuming that you're going through on your wellness journey, taking care of your body. What is one that you're surprised by? Like, what's something that you didn't really know about before, and now you feel like you can't live without it? Like for example, mine is going to a chiropractor, right?
Butter.
Like I always thought that they were like scammers, and then I found the right one, who's actually Dr. Hasim. He's Maggie's husband, and I've
Oh yeah, they're awesome.
and like he's been really helping me. But like, so what's like a form of wellness that has really helped you that you didn't really know about the power of it before that people?
Well, the number one thing is I never thought I'd fall in love with swimming because it was my hardest and most scary, and it's still the one that I'm the slowest at. But because it takes so long to learn technique, but it's like a miracle worker because, and Jonathan, you should consider it's the best recovery because you can go run or, kill yourself on the bike and then you go
Jeff
swim.
told you that too.
Yeah.
Sorry, my friend was like,
awesome.
"Come to the ocean with me," doing it in the ocean specifically with the salt water, and he had told you to do it, and you're like, "No, I'm not gonna do it."
It's amazing, and you feel like you had a massage. I mean, it gets all the lactic acid out.
Yeah. Have you tried the float tanks before?
Yeah, I tried that too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But I will say
With swimming.
the biggest lesson I learned through all of this, and I think it's been so key, especially in middle age, is to reassign that strength is beauty and it's not a physical thing. Because once you empower yourself through, being able to push your body and do these distances and you see your body get stronger and you see yourself mentally get stronger and you're able to look at yourself in a different way and not put all the emphasis on the physical.
Mm-hmm.
And that confidence, I think, comes through as so beautiful because, I'm surrounded by all these women that do this. And to me, they're, these women in their 60s, 70s who are out here crushing it. I'm like, oh my goodness, they're so beautiful, right? Because look how strong they are. Look how confident they are.
And your energy, I'm sure, exudes like their energy just makes them beautiful on their face, the internal
Yeah, because
energy.
you're confident,
Yeah,
right?
they
You're
shine on the outside. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what's beautiful is a woman that's confident and that can
Mm.
get out there and not afraid to push herself. And you see the mind struggles during these races, and they're just going. And you just stand there in awe. And as women, that's what we were created to be. We were created to give life, to sustain life, to do so many things. And I think so many of the times women minimize it to their value only being on their outward appearance, and that's so, I don't know, not the word's not cheap, but it's so much less than, we're not objects, right? We were made to be so much more, and to put all your emphasis on trying to look a certain way to fit a certain object persona is like, it's an embarrassment to the female race, I think, because we're so much more than that.
Mm.
And so that's what I think has been my biggest lesson, especially to teenage girls, even in how they post on social media. I'm like, do you want to look like an object, or do you want an awesome picture of you spiking the volleyball on the beach? I mean, like, what's showing your power? Don't give away your power trying to pose like these people on magazines. Like, anybody can do that, right? But not everybody can get out there and be strong like that. That's where your value is.
I'm curious too, like the vibe that you were mentioning, just like the other women at the races and the whole racing community. Is it like, are people really supportive, or is it more competitive, or is it a mixture? Like, because when you mentioned that girl like cut you off and stuff like that, like, I don't know if that was by accident, but I'm just curious about the vibe of the running community.
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
supportive. Like, that was by
Okay.
accident that she did.
Yeah.
It was totally
Okay.
by accident. And when you're out there, you're cheering each other on. Because you're in awe, because you know how much work
Yeah.
it takes to be there. And you're just,
Yeah.
especially when you see some of these older women, or you see somebody just killing it on the day, you're in awe of them, and you're so
Yeah.
respectful, and you're so, I mean, like, just the love from me not finish, being able to finish, and everyone's so supportive, and they're like, Joy, it still counts. Like, you did
Yeah.
all the training to get there, you finished the bike course. It was just like 13, 14 miles left, like on a flat, like, of course you could have, and so it's super supportive. And I think too, it's the different environment you're in with women too, and because that's what we're chasing, the vibe is so different.
Can I ask you a question, Joy, about
Sure.
your thirds? That was really interesting. I've been ruminating over it. That's why I haven't been talking much.
Okay.
As someone that's about to go into, well, I am already doing my own thing. We're all 1099s there, right? So,
Yeah.
I was just curious, how do you, you have your wins, you have your losses, and then you have your average days, just like a workout, right? We all work out. We all take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
It's self-evident. How do you keep yourself motivated on those really, really bad days? I mean, I know we were talking about spirituality and giving ourselves a little grace once in a while and patting ourselves on the back. Like, it's okay. You tried your hardest, right? As long as you tried your hardest and you went to bed knowing that you did give it your all, you could sleep at night, right? But for someone like that's starting out, that doesn't have immediate success, because we're surrounded by so much dopamine, right? You see all these people online. You see so much,
you only see a lot of just the wins.
Only the
you
wins,
only the
right?
wins. Yeah.
Like 85% of the day is bullshit, right? Like, I'm client facing. Like, I put out problems all day. Like, I have people that have like crappy, fucked up kitchens. Like, literally, like, I'm a manufacturer's rep, right? Like, so I represent multiple brands. So I'm their face out in the field. Well, not in the field, but client side. So, I take a couple punches every day, and, they add up, and, it's part of the game. But I wanted to know, for someone strong like you that's doing your own thing, how do you keep yourself like up and going? And sorry for the run-on sentence.
No, I love it. And first of all, if I was strong, I wouldn't have to be constantly doing these exercises over and over, right? It's first realizing that we're weak, and it's only because consistently we're challenging ourselves that we're chasing strength. And that's what makes us strong. So, you never get to the point where you feel like you're strong. You just feel like you're proud that you're still working at it. But yeah, it's when you do have a failure or maybe a miss the mark for some reason, you really have to step back and evaluate, okay, why, right? Like why did I miss the mark? Was there something I could have done better? Was I mentally maybe weak? Did I give up before I needed to? If so, why do I think? Is it because lack of rest? Is it because of the people that I'm surrounding myself with? Is it because of the content I'm consuming? You know, what opened up that door for weakness to where I didn't push as hard as I could have? You know, or maybe this was my max. This is where I'm at right now. This truly was the best I can do. But next time, maybe this exercise has gotten me to where the next time I attempt this, I'm going to be able to complete it. And I'm going to get to the point where I wasn't able to this time, but I'm going to remember how bad it felt that I failed on this. And so that's going to fuel me to give that last push. So there's a lot of different things that you have to evaluate. And then sometimes you just have to think that was all I could do right now. That was totally out of my control. That was my best. Or, you know, unfortunately, there was a miscommunication and there was nothing I could do. And you got to let that slide, and you can't, you know, like beat yourself up for it and extend grace. But yeah, it's really important that you always evaluate those bad sessions, or the, you know, the bad or the failure. I say you always learn from failure, but not hitting the mark.
Sometimes you get in your own head, right?
Right.
When you're, you know, again, some people, I mean, you know, a lot of us have been training for years, right? Some people get, you know, when you're first starting out, like I said, like imagine if someone's just listened to this and they had no idea where to even start, and like they,
Right.
you know, a string of losses, right?
Right.
You know, a lot of people give up very quickly, right?
Yeah.
I know you've seen that meme on Facebook where that guy's digging with the pickaxe and then diamonds like right there at the end.
Thoughts, yeah.
Yeah.
But I also think it's important to know like when to give up. Like it's actually okay to be like,
are you talking about insanity? The definition of doing something?
Yeah. Like to be like, okay, I've been trying this forever, and now I'm gonna pivot. Like maybe I'm gonna pivot, and this other avenue is opening up, and like I want to do this in life, but then people are actually gravitating towards you for something else, and you're like, wait, this is actually, people are naturally coming to me for this thing, maybe I should pivot towards that, right? So I don't know if that makes sense, because I'm just thinking of an example in my own mind, but
I think John's about to hop in.
Does that make sense? You guys know what I'm talking about?
It makes a
I don't feel like giving my own personal example because I don't want to feel like getting involved.
All right, can I respond to that? Okay, so I had a dream like you, right? I wanted to be a professional wrestler, right? So I trained to be a professional wrestler. And then what I realized is, despite the fact that I love wrestling and I'm pretty good at it, I'm good enough to get a contract, right? But I'm not good enough to be one of the best, right? But like, what are some of my strengths? I'm not a fantastic, amazing athlete. Obviously, I break my legs every time I enter a ring, but I have gifts that I can maybe apply to something else, and it's close enough to feeding that part of me that wants to entertain an audience. So I'm a pro wrestler without the wrestling. I just posted on social media. So I found a way of allowing my creative outlet to have somewhere to go. And it's close enough in alignment, but I think like a part of it is we need to recognize, okay, like if something might not be working, not your singing, because it is working, but if we found something that wasn't working, you can naturally pivot and lean into like what you're naturally good at, and you could still find that satisfaction, even though it's not exactly what you wanted to do.
Right. Well, I also think like, so I've had points in my life where I was like, okay, not to get spiritual, but we're going to get spiritual, where I said, okay, God, just, I feel so lost. Like nothing I'm doing is working. Just show me how I'm supposed to serve. Like show me what I'm supposed to do. Like how, and focusing on like how you can serve others, and how am I supposed to serve.
We have a personal conversation for a moment. Joy, you're welcome to join us here. We're going to have a little therapy session. When you say, because I think a lot of people can relate to this, when you say what I'm doing is not working.
Yeah.
Right? Ellie, everything that you're doing is working. I think the challenge is what Joy was saying.
Well, this is from a few years
ago. Joy was saying, which is, no, I think what you're doing is working really well right now.
Right. But this was a few years ago when I was like extremely unhappy and just like a mess. And so I just in that moment was like, just show me how I'm supposed to serve. Like, show me what I'm supposed to do, you know? And then I did actually start getting answers and it brought me back to the right place. But I find that just when you are super lost and stuck, asking that question and asking for guidance, like whatever higher power you believe in, it does really work. And just like letting go of the ego and saying, okay, there's something greater than me that can help lead me, even if it's like all in my mind and really there is nothing else out there, right? And it's just placebo effect. That's cool too. Like, but I just from personal experience have found that really does help.
Joy, I don't know about you, but for me, virality was not, or virality or building our businesses or building an audience, building a community. It kind of was like this. There was a day when I didn't have an audience, and then all of a sudden there was a day when I did. And it wasn't something that I was like actively paying attention to through the process. You just, one day you wake up and you're like, oh shit, I think I did it. And I don't think that we always like look in the mirror and pay attention to those micro improvements that we're constantly making over time that is getting us closer to that goal. And I think, Ellie, just from what I've experienced watching you for over a year, if we're being really honest with ourselves, I know that you have fear and anxiety about reaching your goal. And that is, and for you specifically, more so because what you're trying to do is something that the 1% of the 1% wishes they could do, but like we don't, like I said, we don't see those little noticeable things. It's like gaining weight. You just start putting on weight and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, what happened? Right? Same way, you're like compounding these successes, little tiny ones over time. But I think it's like it's like she was saying, the aggressive patience, because from the outside, and sometimes lean on people, I see your growth every fucking day. And I think it's just a matter of, girl, just keep doing it and lean on people that see your success as confidence and validation that you're going in the right direction.
Yeah, that's definitely helpful too.
Yeah, lean on those people. What do you think, Joy? What do you do?
Yeah, no, I totally think, and you know, obviously,
Dotoluska.
But yeah, Joy, finish your thought.
Yeah, what were you saying, Joy?
Okay. I was just gonna say, you know, I truly believe, like, as human beings, our minds are so simple compared to, you know, God. And I mean, obviously, I brag a lot about the body, and so I'm a firm believer that there is a creator. You know, a lot of people talk about believing in the universe, but I choose to believe in the creator of the universe. So that's even one step higher. Because obviously we agree this world is too complex. Our bodies are too complex. Everything's too complex for it to just boom. Like, come on.
Science or whatever. Like I agree. Like I believe in the creator too. I know people get weird about religion, so I'm just like trying not to, but yeah.
But it's something that I never jam down people's throats or anything, because it's obviously it's a personal thing, and I truly believe God will reveal himself to you at least once. He promises at least once. And it's our responsibility to accept or to go with it. Or if we ignore, he may harden our heart and we'll never have that chance again. But, you know, it's definitely something that he'll reveal and convict your heart. And so it's their personal journey. It's not my place to convince anybody of anything.
Right.
But what I believe is, because we're created in his image, and we're always told to believe what he says about us. And when you step into that belief, what he says about us, and, you know, all the potential that we have, if we, you know, if I were to say, Ellie, here's a piece of paper, write down exactly how you want your life to go, exactly everything you want it to be like, and you were to take, I don't know, days, weeks, months to write this down, it would not even compare to if you took the sheet of paper, left it blank, and handed it back over to God and said, no, God, you fill this in.
Ooh, surrendering.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about when I said, like, show me what I'm supposed to do, because I was living in LA, listening to all this manifestation
Ellie,
stuff.
I love you, but we have a guest
Joe,
right
I
now.
forgot.
So we have Joe. Joe, man.
Joe is a god man. He's a god man.
Joe. But Joe, you picked the wrong profile to pull up, man. Can I pick violence today?
That's fine. Go ahead, bro.
And when I say can I pick violence, I am saying I love you and we're here to help you and we're going to elevate you to the next level. There is no actual violence. I'm just being fun. So let's look at your about me. So again, Joe, this is from love, but if you could just for a moment, tell us a little bit about yourself. Thank you so much for being a part of our 24-hour podcast. Before I give it to you rough and raw, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first and foremost, I enjoyed the conversation.
Great.
I am myself. I'm a Christian.
Good.
I am an executive business consultant, but I'm an ordained pastor. I just ran for Congress. So, I just made history.
No way.
Thank God, I just ran for Congress.
Amazing.
I'm a Jersey guy. I'm a Jersey boy. Grew up in Jersey and worked for the governors in New Jersey, and I worked for W. Bush in the White House, and for the past 2 years, almost 3 years now, for South Florida has been home. As an executive business consultant, I connect business, minority, small business to resources, whether to financing. If you need a lawyer, you need a business lawyer, you need an investor. I help corporations and businesses get access to new market. And, I'm the go-to guy. I'm the go-to guy between corporate America, political arena, and the local community.
Okay, beautiful. So let's jump in. How do you deliver this?
By finding what the clients need. Okay, I need to know what the clients need, and then because I have such a vast Rolodex, right? I got a 22.
Okay, yeah, but that's cool. How do you deliver it in one sentence?
I deliver it by tailor. I create a plan, but I create a plan for my clients, to reach out to according to their needs and what they want, what they need. And I reach out to my contact. I say, listen, this is what my client needs. Like I said, if they need, for example, if they need.
Okay, so you see what's going on, and Joe, we're saying this with love. You've been talking for almost 5 minutes. I still don't understand what you do exactly or how you help us get there, right? So the first thing when I said choose violence, it's because I saw your profile and I was reading visionary domestic and foreign policy executive recognized for building global collaborations between governments, enterprises, and nonprofit organizations to advance corporate and social equity concerns.
Yeah, confusing.
Oh my God. There's like so many words that don't mean anything. So the first thing that I would tell you, Joe, is I love how fancy it sounds. I have no idea what that means. So the first step that we need to take is we need to speak on the level of somebody that has a very, very low attention span, right? Because we know social media, constant movement, right? If I'm reading this, I'm confused. So how many hundreds of thousands of dollars could you be losing out for because you don't have a really tight elevator pitch and I can quickly and easily understand how you're trying to help people?
I appreciate the insight. I always welcome advice. I appreciate the insight. I would take that into consideration, Jonathan. I appreciate the insight and the observation.
Yeah. Joy, you want to dive in? I want to hear Joy for a second. Yeah, she wants to share.
No, I think, and we're having fun with you, obviously, picking apart the birds. And we appreciate you being a good sport. I love that. But what he's saying is people's, their attention span is so short now on social media. You really want to kind of be known. Like for me, I'm known for growth mindset, and then once people dig in, they can see all the other things I do. So it's kind of like what he's saying is let's make what you do concise. Or like I say, I help healthcares achieve a growth mindset. And that kind of envelops everything I do, helping them grow their business, helping them, try new things, helping them face challenges. It kind of like puts it all into a nutshell. But you want to put something concise that's going to get attention, that's going to want people want more to find out more about you. That's what I would highly say.
So like what if you could break it down, Joe, maybe some adjectives or just keywords of what you do, like just in a shorter form, what would that be?
Right. And especially like me as a potential prospect of yours, people are very skeptical inherently, right? And what we want to do is we want to create safety for that prospect, that they know exactly what you do, exactly how you deliver it, and what is the outcome that I can anticipate. I have a dream and you're going to help me get there. how do you do it? And what can you promise to me? Because, you know, and again, this happens all the time. We speak to people like this every day. If like I can't clearly understand, like, okay, you're going to do this and then you're going to deliver it like this, that's how people invest. You know, that's how people say and make the decision that this individual is going to give me the hope, you know? So I think a part of that is creating that confidence for people. It's great to have a pitch, but if people can't clearly understand and follow clearly how you're going to help them, there's a lot of resistance, you know?
I think I know what he does. Can I guess what you do, Joe?
Well,
now.
before that, thank you, Jonaed.
Of course.
You know, one of the key things that I'm good at, that I help people. I help people. I connect people to investors. Somebody needs financing. I'm the guy. I bring you to either to my bankers, the private equity people. I help people get financing for the project. You know, I help people get, you know, licensing. Somebody want to open a somebody want to get contract. I help people get access to the procurement people at the county or the private company. So I help people get contract, and also I help people get.
So is it fair to say that you're kind of like a gatekeeper? You're a gatekeeper. You're the guy that stands between the money and.
I was gonna say connector or middleman.
I like gatekeeper because it's like it's authority. It's authority. It's like they can't cross over until he creates that connection. You know, there's a position of strength. But even by saying something like that, I am the gatekeeper to your future success. I can connect you with influential people. That just like clears up the language a little bit, you know, so that instead of saying words like to try to demonstrate power and authority and all of this stuff, the pitch will do that for you, as long as you're helping people see how they can get to that desired dream, you know? So yeah, I think you got something there. It's just a little refining process, you know?
Good stuff. Good. Somebody else was trying to. Was it Danielle?
Oh, no. I was just going to say that was my guess, like that you are the connector to, you know, because I got what you said when you were explaining it, but and again, I think when you say the words, and I'm only saying this from personal experience because I've done this, but when you say the words like, I can hear what you do and then tailor my skills to you, like, to me, that just sounds like you're not an expert in anything almost. So like, you know, when you're too broad, it just feels like it's not really, there's not as much substance there, like
right. So
in the nicest way possible.
Focus on one thing.
So to say, I am a gatekeeper and guarantee this to help you in your future, like that to me is strong and powerful. And I connect you to the people you need to speak with to level up. Like that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what everybody needs in every business.
I think I lost you guys. I thought I lost you guys.
I'll let him say it, but anyway.
Yeah, and just like she said, yeah, it's that, because it's like I love the sound of it, but the opportunity to, like, we just want to know, everybody wants to know when they hear an offer, they receive an offer, is this going to work for me? Because for some reason we all have the belief that for whatever reason I'm not good enough for it to work for me. So we just have to build up that belief. But Joe, is there anything else from a marketing standpoint, branding standpoint, that maybe me and Joy can help you with?
Well, I got the phone call got dropped. My minutes expired, so I didn't really hear what Danielle said. I don't know if she can repeat that, because I was offline for a few seconds.
Yeah, no, it's all good. She'll join us in a moment, but yeah, she basically shared more or less that, you know, it's you know, like identifying, like we said, kind of like the gatekeeper or the connector, as she used the word, you're a connector. And we just need to ensure that, you know, it has a vehicle that we're tying to it so that people can understand, whether that's a proprietary method or you know, it's just your special Rolodex, right? But yeah, that's what it is. So did you want to ask myself or Joy any branding, marketing questions?
Well, you know, also I do have an online course. I have an online course on networking, how to you know, use networking to become financially, you know, independent. So I'm looking for a platform to publish my online course. So I'm not sure if there's somebody, you know, anyone who might be able to give me some guidance on how to.
So where is the online? Where's the online course right now?
Oh, it's on my personal computer. It's on my data. It's on my personal.
So you want a platform?
Yes. I'm looking for a platform and and some marketing. Some help with marketing and what have you.
Okay. So if you could Google online course and you could use like Kajabi, which is one that we've used historically. It's like $200 a month, and you can kind of host the course there, and then you could do like online sessions. There's so many options. I will say, so like, how do you have the course crafted right now? Where is it on a Google document? Is it filmed? What do you got? So far?
Correct. Well, both. I have both video content and I have manuscript.
Okay.
So I do have, it's what happened. What I done last year, I had a podcast. I turned some of the session of my podcast into recording to be part of the online course. So not only they're gonna have a written material, but also there's a video content. There's a video that go with each section. Each written section, there's a video a portion.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we could maybe possibly help you come up with an idea on how to sell it, and I think it goes along with this. So when you say that you need help with marketing, what is it specifically?
To help me put it out there, to help me get the course published and promote it, to actually push it out there on social media and help me to it's an amazing course. I mean, just the way it's the story. I have an opening story. Just the opening story for my opening story is just it's heart grabbing. So I'm a gatekeeper. I'm a connector. I believe that's who I am. I have connect people. I have connect people to resources for the past 22 years. So I think this course once published is gonna make it's gonna make $1 million.
Yeah.
It's gonna make a lot of money.
But that's how I know it's not going to work. That's how because when people say I'm going to make $1 million with that, I almost guarantee it won't make $1 million. That's because it's not why we do it. We don't do this stuff to make millions of dollars. I just don't even like. Yeah. So what is your intent with the course? Why do you want to create it? Why is it important to you? What do you want? What do you hope to accomplish with the course?
To network, but also how to use networking to advance the financial profile. To to use networking to help them to become financially independent. Okay. I discovered that in the past few years, most professionals, they don't know how to network, especially young professionals. They're not well savvy how to network.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean that young people don't know how to network?
I say young professional, young business.
Oh, yeah. What does that mean?
They don't know. For example, you put them in a room with a whole bunch of high net worth individuals. They don't know how to network and how to use that to advance their businesses, to advance their position in life. And that's why I come in. I'm gonna teach them how to do that because I've done that for over 20 years and I do very well. I'm extremely successful using networking.
Right. What do you feel are the skills that they don't know?
Oh, well, that's the skill I'm going to teach them. I'm going to teach them.
I know, but for the audience, what are the skills that you feel like they need to work on?
How to first of all, how to start a conversation and how to follow up. It's not just starting a conversation, but the way you follow up and how you sell yourself is crucial.
Right.
And
so then how do you help people sell themselves?
But it's in the course. That's why I have the course.
Come on.
So I'll jump in. Here's what Jonathan's getting at too, Joe. I would say, are you active on social media at all, on LinkedIn or Instagram?
Absolutely, of course.
Okay, so what you will see is you have to be willing to give away some stuff for free so that people know and want more and see what you're doing. It can't all just be buy this and then you'll find out. Because when you see the biggest personal development people, the biggest people that are the most successful selling courses, which is what Jonathan was alluding to, how he knows if something's going to be successful or not, is they begin by giving a lot away for free at first, because it shows your intention, it shows your knowledge, it shows, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about, I want more. it can't just be, bait and switch. Oh, you'll find out once you buy it. Like you have to put it out there first. You have to give first. You need to get on social media, start supporting other creators, start making comments on their content, start like creating a network like you're talking about. And that's probably part of your course is you have to give first before you ask for anything. And so I think that would be my first completely free step to start promoting and getting knowledge about your course out there, is to get out there and start giving and supporting. That would be the first thing I would do. And really, that's how you'll grow your social media presence as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. I concur. I fully concur. I teach people technique. For example, I teach people technique on how to start a conversation, what to say about themselves. How to start a conversation, what to ask, how to ask, what kind of question to ask, and also how to do the follow-up. It's an art, it's a science, how to do the follow-up.
Yeah. Well, give us
how to develop a professional relationship.
Yeah. Well, get on social media and start putting bits and clips. It sounds like you already have your video content created. Start putting some little clips. You don't have to put the whole clip, but put little clips that end with, people wanting to hear the rest of the clip. And start putting some of these little tips out there. And I think that's how you could start to build interest in people wanting to know more.
For example, Jonathan, are you there, Jonathan?
I am. I'm here.
Yeah. For example, he's a cliffhanger, right? Let me give you a little, a icebreaker. Okay, that's an icebreaker. I started with a story. My sister, after my sister graduated from nursing school, right? My sister graduated from nursing school. She wanted to work in a hospital for almost a year. She's been trying to work in a local hospital. She fill out an application. She tried to get in. She was not able to get on that local hospital. Suddenly, she remembered her little brother knows few people, right? She remembered that I know few people locally. She gave me her resume. She said, he's a brother, big brother. Here's my resume. I know you know some people. Well, listen, hello?
Yeah, he's outside. That's what it is.
Hello, are you guys listening? Are you guys there?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm here.
As I was saying, my baby sister graduated from nursing school. She's been trying to get work at various local hospitals, in her city where she lives. No luck, right? Oh, you need experience. They would not even give her a chance for almost a year. But after a year, she remembered, suddenly the light bulb went on. Oh my goodness, my little brother, my big brother, he's the mover industry. He knows everybody.
Oh, shit. And he's about to get cut. Whoops. There we go. So, if he comes back, we'll keep it going. But for right now, we're going to keep moving forward. So, going back to that, that's the thing about offers, guys. Like, I know that we brought a little fire, but to be fair, I told him from the beginning we're picking a little violence, right? I have to have a little bit of fun with this and enjoy it. So, but going back to it, it's something that I obsess about, and I've had so many situations that like this that like you do lose your patience a little bit because, I respect my audience, I respect my prospects so much. And I'm sure you can relate to this, Joy. When I'm making a piece of content or when I'm putting my offer out there for the world to see, I envision myself sitting at a table with the people that I respect the most in life. These could be historical figures. These could be people that I dreamed of having dinner with. And like, imagine that you're sitting at this table with all these people you have so much respect for, right? When you want to say something, you're not just going to say something when you just have anything to say. You're going to be really strategic with your words because you understand this is your opportunity to get in front of people, right? So when it comes to your offer, your content, it's not that you need to obsess about every single word, but you have to know that the work that you're putting out there, whether it's sending an outbound message, putting together a newsletter, whatever, respect the audience you're speaking to and make sure that you take the time to build out a message in any form, in any vehicle that actually matters. Any thoughts about that, Joy?
Yeah, no, and I think what we saw too was the biggest mistake that he brought up was, well, I don't want to share anything. They have to buy the course.
Right. Which is very common. Let me tell you. I hear it all the time.
But you see, the most successful people are the ones that are out there giving away so much for free first. That's how you win an audience. So that was his biggest
reciprocity. Reciprocity.
Yeah.
And also another one that can be a trigger, and poor Joe that he had to be the example, but when people say I'm going to make $1 million, and this is something that I got from a Gary Vaynerchuk video. He was interviewing a kid, 25-year-old kid, and the kid said, I'm going to be a millionaire, and I'm going to come up to your office and I'm going to shake your hand. And Gary V said, that's how I know you'll never get it.
Yeah.
Because people come out it's an energetic thing. It's like when I can tell what somebody's intentions are, it's almost like we shut down, because I'm like, I need to change and Joy, you're big on this, like the growth mindset thing. I need to change a psychological behavior before we can get any further, and that might be a little bit too much to ask, but can you speak to that? Because Joy, I mean, like, you're one of those people that you put it all out there all the time for your audience, but you've seen the value of it, but what I want to go back when you were early in your process and you were just sharing, you didn't have the confidence to know this is going to work for me and I'm going to benefit from this long term. So like, how did you find it to like be vulnerable and share openly, not knowing what the outcome could be?
Yeah. And you can't get caught up in the numbers, right? I think that's what scares people so much, even to get started putting content out.
Yeah, exactly.
Is because they're like, oh, I might not get a lot of likes. But if your intention is to help, then guess what? Doesn't matter as long as you help one person, that's worth it. That's one, complete life. And I'll tell you a big example was when I was talking about earlier about that helicopter ride after my first marathon. There was 2 other men on the helicopter that were taking the tour with us. And when I went finally to compete in the world championship, I got a message from him on LinkedIn. And so this would have been 3.5 years later. And he's like, Joy, do you remember me? I was on the helicopter. And he said, I was so inspired by your journey that since then, I've lost 100 pounds. And I've been watching. I've been watching you all along the way. And he sent me pictures hiking with his son, like on the top of some mountain. He was like, I would have never had memories like this with my son had I not lost the weight. And he said, thanks for sticking true to what you talked about. Good luck in your race. And that, like, had nobody else even seen, had I never grew an audience, had I never anything, like just that one life that was changed, like that was worth it, right? Like, that's what it's about. And that's always the intention you have to have when you are here to do courses to help people. It's not, let me just see how much money I can make.
No, it's absolutely right. Like those are the kinds of stories that almost like bring you to tears, because it's like this person's entire life changed. The trajectory of their life is completely different because of a post. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like that is wild.
Too. Yeah. I know so many of us influencers experience it because we don't realize who's, so many times it's the people that aren't even commenting that we don't even know, but they're hearing what we say and they're watching what we do. And it's so important that we stay authentic and true and, practice what we preach.
Absolutely. I'll tell you guys all for sure. I don't think I've ever had a client comment on my content ever. It's always it's the lurkers, it's the ghosts, it's the people that silently watch. And I find a lot of times it's because maybe it's a part of themselves that hasn't been fully expressed. Like putting yourself out there on social media takes a lot of courage, right? Yeah. So the people that are going to be attracted to you are actually going to be the people that do it the least, so they're going to be the shyest of the shy. But those are the people that, the transformations are the most satisfying. So
it's super cool.
So good. So good, Joy. So was there anything else that you wanted to share while we have you here? Maybe we'll take another call. What do you think, Jason? We got some... Let's do an outbound. Let me see. Who do we got? Oh my gosh, like so many. I kind of like that guy in the black suit. Maybe we could do some sales and marketing. Who else we got?
Oh, I heard this guy's interesting.
I'll take. Surprise me. I'll take anybody that's interesting. Why don't we get some new callers, some new blood?
I've never spoken to him.
Let's get some new blood, some new folks. Let's welcome them the proper way. So let's see, Joy, what do we have planned coming up? Is 2024 season done now?
Well, yes and no.
Here we go.
Well, no, I was waiting to see how I bounce back from this concussion. There is a race here in Florida, another full distance, and I'm going to try to grab my championship slot for next year, which will be in Kona. If I can pull it together in time with this concussion.
Can you hear me?
Jonathan, from one to everyone's favorite. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, great minds think alike, and great names are associated. I like that you don't have the H in it as well.
Dude, only the real ones don't have an H. Jason, can we see his profile? We're doing. Oh, okay, yeah, we were doing little Owwll profile audits for a second. We could do his Instagram, but so I'm not sure. Hopefully now you know. You're a part of a 24-hour podcast that we're running on LinkedIn right now. How do you feel about that?
I feel pretty good.
I mean, there's a ton of people watching right now. We're streaming on 16 different accounts, so no pressure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no, it's all good. Thanks for throwing me some spotlight.
So you took the call, which I find fascinating. So you accepted it. Why? Now I want to get into kind of like the behavior of an Owwll user a little bit. Why did you decide to pick up the call? Because now we're going meta. We're going psychological.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's user research / top of funnel.
There we go. Look at you. All right.
So for me personally, it was just right place, right time. I'm not gonna lie, my Owwll hours kind of get away from me.
Dude, join the club. It's all right.
Yeah, in all honesty. So it was one of those moments where I didn't quite remember it was on, but I'm in between calls, and it was right place, right time.
We appreciate you, dude. So thank you for joining us.
No worries. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So tell us about you. You obviously know some stuff about marketing. Are you in marketing, advertising? I think I saw that for a second.
You know, marketing is one of those things where you feel like you've been in it for 6 years, and then you wake up one day and it's like, what am I actually doing?
Oh, I love you already, dude. Yeah, I ain't that the truth. Joy, we all know the algorithms and the changing times every day.
But you know, Ryan Reynolds actually said it on Inbound the other day that you'd be surprised how many people are really just guessing. So it kind of comes down to like your execution and measurement rather than actually having an actual plan. Like, are you measuring what you're doing? That's the main thing. But yeah, real quickly, I've been in marketing. I started off in the content strategy space, really just grassroots beginnings with blogging. And what started off as a commonality turned into niche-specific requests. People started asking for topic-specific things and ranking for websites and SEO. And it's like, oh, wow, seems to be a whole nother world within this world. And that really led me on down a rabbit hole of like where I am today, to be honest with you. And then in marketing, you find serendipitous data. So, you know, as you're, and we're living in a world now where, especially with corporate companies, they want people to be T-shaped. They want you to be good at this, and this, and have depth too.
Right.
So,
yeah.
you know, what started off with just, you know, SEO and stuff like that, when you get on these SEO tools, you start to realize there's cost per click data. And it's like, oh, wow. So I'm learning about keywords, but I can also bid on these keywords. And that got into, you know, pay-per-click advertising, Google ads. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. So I don't have to just solely put all my eggs.
So you have a very curious mind. Like you naturally, it's like, oh, how does that work? Okay, well, if I do this and this happens, oh shit, let me go check that out. It seems like I'm just kind of going through your process a little bit right now.
Objective constructivism. That's 110% right. I learn best when I actually take it apart, put it together, figure out how it works.
I love that, dude. That is the markings of a master right there. I love the way that your brain thinks about things like that. But yeah, just being in the marketing space, when I work with a client, you know, I'm very hesitant when they tell me like, I need X amount of leads, I need X amount of revenue, because I feel like as a marketer, we're more like an idea machine. We're creative. We can build systems and infrastructure, but we don't do mind control, right? Like we can't convince somebody to buy your thing. We can get them pretty far, and we can track and figure out, okay, where are they stopping in the process? But at the end of the day, we're dealing with human psychology. This isn't a haircut. You know what I mean? Like where you have a design and a desired outcome, and we can kind of get there. Can you speak to that a little bit? Because that's always been my thing. The deeper I get into this, the more I realize I can do a lot of things, but I'm not a fortune teller.
You're 110% right. And you're describing the new marketing landscape. So I'm not saying anything new. A lot of people have said this before that are a lot smarter than me. The new marketing world is based off of creative and brand building. The old marketing world, which is interesting, is what I was trained on, was based off of numbers and analytics, and
Right.
return on ad spend. And
It was cool when it was early in the market. You know, it was cool when it was early. The internet was early because we could get away with a lot of shit.
I mean, ask my dad. You just cookie someone to death until they actually clicked on what you wanted to do.
There was a lot less distractions, you know.
A lot less distractions, and people actually, cared when, if you redirected them from one page to another. They actually stayed on it.
They were like, "Thank you." Ooh, an email. I got an email. Now it's like if we get like mail in person, if I get a handwritten note, I'm like, this person must be like living in, like the jungle or something. How the fuck did they decide to do this? It's shocking.
Exactly.
But
yeah, what officially killed that world was iOS 14.5. So when the Facebook pixel and all that changed and we got into server-side tracking, it became very hard to just retarget a user, not only from a compliance perspective, from an algorithm perspective. So all the marketers that were just retargeting and pretty much sitting back, drinking pina coladas, they had to actually do work. And that changed everything. And it was at that moment right there we officially entered the flip of, wow, this is more of a creative game, not only for the algorithm, not only for costs, but just overall marketing.
Are you creating content on LinkedIn around this?
No, to be honest with you, I'm a practitioner right now. I feel like we have a lot of people talking about a lot of different things, and I'm just trying to practice and test.
Dude, you need, like, you are doing a disservice to the platform by not talking about this stuff. From somebody that is like, I spend like 6 hours a day on LinkedIn. The stuff that you're talking about, nobody's talking about. You have my full attention. I'm really engaged. And it's like, and I'm going to get a little graphic because I know my audience likes a little bit of it, but like, like when you see a lot of like pretty girls and then like, it kind of like starts having to get a little bit weird, because it's like, you're so used to seeing stuff. Now it's like, I'm kind of like jaded by it. Right. But then every once in a while, you'll see that one thing that really captures your attention. Like, oh, this is different. This is good.
Great analogy.
Yeah. And that's what this is, So like, really, dude, you're touching on some magic. You need to talk about it more on social media.
Yeah, no,
the 14.5 Facebook thing. I was like, what? I've never heard of this. This is good, So
I mean, to close out, we're getting inundated with so many different things and changes. It's. I would lie to you to say I keep up with every single Google change. That's not possible.
Right.
With everything that happens, it's consuming a lot of things shallowly, but with enough depth to have the context of it and then move about it. But something like that, that's quite major, gets away from people. We're in a different world when it comes to tracking and stuff. That's why, to your point with the creative and branding bit, that's everything now. The last thing I would tell to finish off with this, things like bottom line and stuff like that always matter. That's how a company stays afloat. But we need to start looking, we need to get away from things like impressions, which are vanity, and becoming more vanity, and start looking at impact and reach. How is your creative actually impacting and reaching other people? And then how can you use that creative to actually run ads against it? Because the creative is already working again.
And what do we love about creative?
Exactly.
AI can never touch creative. I feel like we're always going to be one step ahead. So if you're worried about AI, creative is like, to me, the biggest thing, the easiest opportunity. If you're good at it, if you're good at coming up with ideas, it's like, you don't have to worry too much about AI just yet. If you can come up with something completely unusual and outside of the box.
The AI conversation is interesting. So I hear a lot of different things. And one person said it best, a guy in his 70s, and he basically said AI is going to replace commonality. 110% right.
I love that.
Mom and pop shops, corporate companies, Fortune 5s, Fortune 1000s, they are no longer going to pay you to sit on your ass and do something redundant that a computer can do. So the bright side to that at the same time is that you now have the ability to ideate an idea in its fullest form and use technology to help you see it through.
That is a great way of putting it.
But the commonality is no longer there. So it's one of those glass half empty. It depends on where you actually are. But we do this every so many years. We get scared of something, we reject it, we say we're not going to do it, and then we end up doing it. Everybody said they weren't going to switch from a BlackBerry to an iPhone. BlackBerry's no longer.
Go watch the documentary, guys. It's really interesting. The story of BlackBerry. Oof. If you like predicting outcomes and seeing like businesses that just did not know how to adapt and got stuck in their old ways, that's a good one. So adapting. That was, dude. So like, great masterclass. I'm kind of like blown away. But like I said, the stuff you're talking about, man. Like, I haven't said it yet. Like, you're brilliant. That stuff's amazing, and you need to talk about it. Joy, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, go.
I nerd out for this stuff, but it's super.
Yeah. Do you have a LinkedIn profile? Do you have an account on LinkedIn?
Yeah, sure. Just linkedin.com/n/JSOL, JSOL. Feel free to connect with me. And,
Okay, well, just tell us your name. Is it just your name on LinkedIn? If people want to find you, is it your name?
Oh, did he get cut? He got cut. We don't have to call him back. He's great though. I'm gonna connect with him on LinkedIn.
Yeah, let's make sure we connect with him.
All right, we got another influencer in the house. We got a special guest. What are we doing here? Who is this? What is she doing here? Okay, I gotta get out. But I gotta be careful with the TV screen because we're a little tight over here.
Go in there. Wrong way.
So good to see you. You want to take a seat?
I will in a few minutes.
All right, perfect. Yeah,
We're chatting.
get settled in. And
Let's call Sandra. She's a marketing guru.
If it's just going to be us, then that layout is good.
Just come on, we're on the show. Come on. Not right now.
we're
on the show.
She's on right now?
You're on a
Did
show.
she join?
You guys can't be talking.
Oh,
Oh my god.
yeah, that's right. But they kind of like the meta stuff sometimes. They like the behind the scenes stuff that we do. All right. Well, so we have Sandra. How you doing, Sandra?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am fantastic. So do you know that you're calling into a 24-hour live stream right now? We called you, so I guess you don't know that.
I didn't even know I was calling anything.
Well, yeah, so surprise! There's a bunch of people watching this right now. And so right now I am joined by the beautiful Joy McAdams, and she is an icon.
Hi.
So let's get started. Do you have any marketing or branding questions, social media questions, LinkedIn questions, anything we can help you with?
No, I was actually just playing with the app, and I guess that's what you guys called. But
Surprise.
I'm definitely enjoying. I need to maximize this app for what it does, and I think that I'm trying to figure out what's the best approach. I feel like I'm kind of tired of paying for subscriptions that I don't end up using, and I really want to give this one. This isn't just another subscription to me. This is like
right.
All the things that we need are here.
I love that question. So the first thing that we have to do is what do you think it's about all the subscriptions that you currently have that they're not working for you?
To be completely honest with you, I think that there'll be one or two features that I'm like, okay, I really think I can maximize off of that. I am obviously a digital marketing expert, but besides that, I also am an automation specialist, and I do help businesses come up with the best customer journey. And sometimes I do believe that these platforms, there isn't one platform that fits any business. I feel like if you are going to create a customer journey, you do sometimes have to kind of MacGyver your customer journey.
I don't know of a client that I haven't had to MacGyver.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I feel like there shouldn't be a one size fits all, because unless you're working with only financial advisors or only coaches or whatever, as digital marketers, we have to be flexible, like some stuff you can run paid ads, other stuff it's more organic, other stuff it's more, thought leadership. So it's hard. I relate.
Right.
But what
So
I was
that's
going to
why I
ask
think I
you,
end up-
just because like I'm framing everything from the perspective of the audience, can you tell us, and this is just, I've been in the same position as you, tell us one software that you got that didn't work for you and why.
one software that didn't work. Honestly, I don't feel like that's a question. Like, I don't think that's a question I can answer, because I do as a tech person, I play with every single software that I use. That's why I think I do. Almost like I like to hoard tech applications just because I'm really good at them. I think that for me right now, it's one of those like, all right, let's look at what I'm actually using this one for. So, for example, for my business, I utilize Dubsado, I utilize Funnel Gorgeous, I utilize all the ones that I need for me to be able to do operational stuff. And then like an app like Owwll, I would be using this one as a networking. So it's like, I'm looking at that, and I actually do take inventory, because because I have a spreadsheet that I created where it's like, okay, these are the stuff you're paying for on a monthly basis,
Right.
yearly basis. And so that's what I'm actually doing right now. I'm taking inventory as I go into the fourth quarter, like really assessing what do we need to continue paying for in the new year. So I actually feel like this is the best time for people to make that decision. Like, all right, let's budget out what 2025 looks like when it comes down to software. And I was assessing that with Owwll. So I'm just
And
glad
that's
that
and that's like what I want the takeaway to be from this, because it's so fascinating. It's like I've been in a similar position to you, and this is what I've found as a digital marketer, generated millions of dollars on LinkedIn. Everything works, but it's
Right.
all dependent on how much effort we're willing to give each one. So for example, MailChimp, when I first used it for the first 2 or 3 months, I was like, oh my God, like this just doesn't work. I can't send out a single email. And it's like they give you all these problems, and then you've got credits and this and that. But then I actually like watched the 3 videos. They were like 5 minutes each. And I was like, oh shit, this is actually a really good tool. I just didn't give it enough time. And I feel like it doesn't matter if it's Owwll, it doesn't matter if it's Unbounce, it doesn't matter if it's Kajabi or whatever. There are obviously products that are better and worse, but I find that like 80% of the time, it's dependent on me. So if I want Owwll to work for me, I got to do a lot of calls. But I think that the most important thing is recognizing that none of these tools work unless we work them.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
100% agree with you on that.
Yeah, Joy, what do you think? I know you use a ton of tools in your
I
business.
would love to hear what maybe her top 2-3 tools are.
Okay, so operationals, I use Dubsado. Funnel Gorgeous does like a lot of my business stuff, like all my marketing stuff.
What is
goes
it called?
in there, Funnel Gorgeous.
Yeah,
And
we're checking out
basically-
your Instagram. It's beautiful, by the way. You got a lot of
Thank
great
you.
branding.
Thank you. I utilize Funnel Gorgeous. So on there, I can do my marketing, like my website, my landing pages, my funnels, my email marketing, text messaging. If I want to post, like batch post stuff, like it's got a social media, social media calendar as well. It's got a lot of great features.
And what was it? What was it?
It's called Funnel Gorgeous.
Funnel board?
FG. Yeah, like if you type it up, it's FG Funnels.
Okay.
And yeah, I can send you guys. Like, I mean, I would love to show people how to use Funnel Gorgeous. I think that's one of like especially for new entrepreneurs that are trying to scale. It's $119 or $129 a month, but it's like better than Kajabi to be honest with you. And I feel like a lot of people invest money in these areas, but then they get stuck with like not knowing how to maximize these platforms.
Yeah.
That's what I'm really on a mission to try to help more entrepreneurs how to figure out this piece, because I feel like we have all these great ideas, but we don't know how to actually like maximize it or how to even like expand our voice with these.
Right.
So that's what I like doing.
So if you want to generate leads on Owwll, because we're all here to give the hacks, right? Jason gets mad when I do this, but I'm going to give them to you. So Jason recently created a community tab. So if all you did was go to Jason's community tab and drop these free, like what you just shared with Funnel Gorgeous, if you went into the community tab and just typed in, hey guys, I found this really new cool resource. It's called Funnel Gorgeous, and here's what it does. And you just did that every day. You just dropped one new resource you learned about every day in the community tab. I'm telling you, you will generate fire leads, because I'm in digital marketing. I know myself because I've done it and I've gotten leads. If you just did that every day, I guarantee you'd get leads.
That's a good tip.
Yeah, just start dropping them.
I heard my name. Should I come on air?
I think you should.
I called in.
We were talking about Owwll, so you know.
I'm listening behind the scenes. I'm the producer today. I'm not the host today. I'm the producer. But I'm going to simplify things, because we talked about this the first hour when I was on Owwll.
Yeah.
And it's quite simple, right? We talked about the funnel, right? In order to be successful in any business, if it's a restaurant, a digital marketing company, a LinkedIn, course creator, whatever it is, you need people to speak to, and you need new customers. And Owwll provides that. So people get too hung up on money. And actually on the Owwll 2.0, what we've done is we've tried to eliminate the word advice and money from all of our screens on purpose, right? We're focusing on networking and collaborating and building opportunities from the calls. Because when you look at most people's businesses, especially marketing type brands, they're not focused on $10 for 10 minutes. They're focusing on, hey, if I could pull in one client from Owwll per month in the next 12 months, and each client's $1,000 to $3,000 on retainer, right? That's way more impactful. So the $10 subscription charge means zero, because all it is fuel to make more opportunities, because we give you it back as a credit. So pretty much when you think of that $10, it's calling folks like Joy. And how much time do we got? We're going to have to add more time because we don't want to lose it.
Yeah. So basically what Jason's alluding to, anytime my business starts going down a little bit, I'm like, Jason, I think I need a refill. I need to do another 24-hour podcast on Owwll. And then I get enough business for 2025, and that's just kind of how it works. So I would definitely recommend.
And it's really simple. It's no different than LinkedIn marketing, Instagram marketing. It's like, if you don't have enough meetings, like go on LinkedIn and just start DMing people and create more meetings, or Instagram. You could leave voice notes for people, right? So Owwll's no different on that spectrum. It's just a matter of taking advantage of how to use the tool, right? Come to one of our tutorial Zooms, which will be this Thursday at 3 p.m. And pretty much I share inside the app all these advanced strategies. And the number one strategy right now with Owwll 2.0 is really simple. Everyone's an expert the second they sign up, and they're charging $1. So all you have to do is go in the new Owwll category, sort low to high, because the people with the least amount of calls will come up, which just entered the app. Follow every single one of them. And every single time someone new goes available, which a bunch went today, you call them and they're $1, right? Show me another technology out there that you could have 5 to 7 new conversations per day with new people for $1, right? And then money means nothing, right? Who the hell cares about your spend bill on Owwll? Even if you go up a little further, $3 to $7 phone calls. Okay, you call 4 people at $5, right? That's $20. In the financial service space, I was paying at one point $250 per lead. And then some of these leads were fake or didn't pick up or were rude to me. And think about the days of cold calling when you had to call 100 people and hopefully get through to 1 to 2 or 3, right? And then naturally try to make a meeting. If you got like 3 meetings a week from cold calling and financial services, you are a hero. So I just look at it as like Owwll is the opportunity of a lifetime if you're trying to grow clients right now, because you can naturally call people, and guess what? It's just about expectations. If your expectation is to do business with every single person, then unfortunately you're going to be upset. If your expectation is to make money off these calls, you're going to be upset. But if you go in with the mindset to call 10 people every single week and turn 1 or 2 of them into some type of collaboration, maybe it's a podcast opportunity, maybe it's meet for coffee, jump on Zoom, right? And maybe just one of them you turn into a Zoom meeting to do business with. That's successful. And if you do that every single week, 10 calls a week for 4 weeks straight, share it. Because I highly doubt you won't see that Owwll is more impactful to your business than any other platform. I'll stand by it. And Sandra, I'll make you a bet right now. If you do what I just said right now and it doesn't work, I'll refund all your subscription and charges plus $500. $500 cash, not in Owwll.
What?
$500 in real money. Real money.
Jason never
want.
does
Amazon, because I stand by my product, because look at my reviews. I'm out there doing calls as well.
Jason, what are you doing?
I don't know.
You're gonna
I drank
regret
too much
this, man.
Celsius.
You're gonna regret this.
Okay,
$500 cash. But
you got me heated. So now I've been listening to this show for like 8 hours straight and not been on the air. So Sandra, you brought me in. Now we got Ellie. Ellie's coming. Nelly, come on in. We got $500 cash. If Sandra follows the rule, 40 calls.
Just to be clear, I was not even insinuating that I was going to cancel this subscription. I'm keeping it. I just need to learn how to.
Well, now you have to. Look at all this.
So you made it.
Ellie's in
I'm like, how do I get $500?
The Owwll team. Sandra,
Wait.
How does Ellie get
So did you just make a bet with her? If she makes 40 calls, she gets $500?
No, the opposite. If she's not successful and says publicly, like, hey, this app, I called 40 people and there was no success, I'll give her a check for $500.
Then you'll. But what if she just lies?
Well, then
that's
called shooting.
No offense, I don't know you.
That's not worth it, because if she called 40 people and got business from it or opportunities.
And for the record, Ellie would be the only person to say that. What if I lied? It's like, lie.
No, I think it'd be better if you say
Joy.
If you call 40 people, then I'll give you $500. That's how my mind works. But
40 calls goes fast.
We lost Joy, by the way. She just zoomed out of the
whoops.
I think it'd be.
Joy,
I like to
wherever you are,
motivate
come
with
on back.
positivity. But
Was she out at 5 anyways?
She was. So it's only 6 minutes early.
All right.
anyway, okay. I was like, wait, I want $500. Okay. Let me know if there's any opportunities,
Any more financial?
any more financial gains for me.
She's on air, so I'll let her ask some questions. You got
Yeah.
it. Sandra, any questions for me, Ellie, Jonathan?
No, honestly, I think the only thing that I truly want to make sure I'm actually doing more is making sure that I'm of service to you guys. How can I support y'all? Too,
First off, you have a great mentality. Thank you for that.
Yeah, of course.
You're gonna win either way.
Yeah, I mean, I've reached out to you before, Jason. We kind of chatted on this on LinkedIn. Like, I want to be able to support you guys if you need. I mean, I'm happy to volunteer tech calls or whatever. Like, if people are struggling with the thing that I know I really good at, I would love to, host a tech call or a systems call or a funnels call, whatever you need. I'm happy to, and maybe we can even come up with I can create a funnel and send it to you and let you know how it's working for me so that we include it in Owwll.
Yeah, I mean, Sandra, we're in such a lucrative space with social media because personal branding is becoming so important to people. So just your presence, just sharing some of what you know between LinkedIn and Owwll is going to help a ton of people. And how long have you been in business?
I have been in business since 2016.
Oh, you got the years of proof. You got I started last year. Okay, so but you've been through enough seasons. Say it with me. I'm entering the most abundant and aligned chapter of my life. We love that, and it's true. But it's like you have the evidence that you're good at what you do because you got the years under your belt. So man, just do more of what you're doing. But on Owwll, to me, I keep insisting on it. The community tab to me is the biggest hack right now. Take advantage of that. So.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for calling and giving me the encouragement. I definitely needed it today.
Great. Well,
so we're here. That's what Mondays are always hard. It's Motivational Monday.
Motivational
Monday. Right? Anyone running a business out there, right?
We haven't talked about that, Jason.
You start on a Monday. Like how hard is Monday to get through those days sometimes? And having a like-minded community is so impactful.
Wait, how am I going to get through the rest of the week?
I don't know. You're doing this for 24 hours straight.
Wait,
on Monday. That's hard.
Did we not think about that? How am I going to go to work tomorrow?
You're going to go to sleep tomorrow. And you're working for 24 hours today. So you've done enough work in 24 hours. But remember, you're filling up the funnel, as you said.
Yeah, it's like it's the sacrifice. You
are sacrificing.
It doesn't hurt that bad. It doesn't. I have 24 episodes of a podcast. That's half a year.
Pretty
One
much.
day.
And now with AI, you could cut the 24 hours into so much content with minimal work. Right, we didn't have that the last time.
We didn't.
Last time we weren't able to just like put a YouTube link and cut up 100 videos.
But like if you guys want to hack social media, just have 2 24-hour podcasts a year. Done. You got all the content you need for a year.
Yes, we're on Owwll. Just call everyone on Owwll one day a month. Like think about how crazy this is. Owwll's open 24 hours a day. So you literally call people at
Owwll
1 in the morning,
open
3 in the morning.
So for those of you
while
that
people are going to bed, the other side of the country is waking up.
Look at that. Like so for those of you that need to work on practicing your pitch, call people on Owwll. That's a great little exercise to do, So we got that.
Well, I'm going to dive deeper because she's the last caller of the day, and then we're going to have to switch the feeds, right? This is part 2, right? Which is kind of crazy.
That is 6?
We're not even at part 3 yet.
I'm fine.
Which is kind of crazy. Part
I'm still
3,
100%.
We're going to have Brian Schulman and Nancy Barrows, who's in our studio live.
Nancy.
And really, when we're looking at everything that Sandra's talking about and collaborating, like I'm gonna just say it. It's like you just have to ask, right? Like often we on Owwll, right, have tutorial Zooms. So Sandra, you can come on one of these tutorial Zooms. I'll speak about how to leverage Owwll for the first 30 minutes. You go in the last 30 and talk about funnels and just different things in marketing on all platforms and related, of course, a tad to Owwll, right? Because our last guest would talk about, funnels on LinkedIn and Instagram. And then all of a sudden he's like, well, also like tell your audience after a speaking engagement, like you call me on Owwll the next day, like make it easier for them. Because like we were talking earlier in the show is when you have a lead, you got to do something with it quickly or it kind of vanishes.
Like
no different than car
same
sales.
day.
Car sales. It's like if someone doesn't buy that day, they're gone.
They're already distracted. It takes seconds.
Be a brand ambassador with us. You're in Florida, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Come visit us in studio.
So anyone who lives in Florida, this is so important. Like you get access to Jonathan Palmar, right to my left, Joy, who was just on the show with us a moment ago, right? She frequently visits, but also our entire community, our network, because we run a lot of events because we're a growing brand. So when you connect with us and become a brand ambassador, then you get to kind of hang out and get special invites and special perks directly through Owwll itself. So,
and the biggest thing that I I struggle with, Jason, is like the people that I surround myself with. I'm very easily manipulated. I'm very easily influenced. I need to be around people that are positive, growth mindset individuals, people that are elevating their lives. I need that energy to keep going. And I
all
found
do,
that,
Jonathan.
yeah, we all do, right?
Sandra needed it today on a Monday.
Very universal.
I struggle on Mondays. My trick is really just trying to play a sport on a Monday evening
pickleball
to kind of get my head right for the rest of the week.
Oh, he's a
and eat
pickleball
healthier on a
savage.
Monday because I eat like shit all weekend. I mean, chicken tenders and French fries for my kids all week.
I mean, like it's hard to fight the chicken
leftovers.
tendies.
They're good.
They're so good.
They are good.
Yeah, but all of that aside, takes effort, guys. So are we going to be switching now? We're going to be
So what we're going to do is Nancy's going to take my seat, right?
right.
And then I'm going to act as producer for a little bit.
All
You
right.
guys talk for a minute. Then we're going to go over to part 3. So we're going to have a 5-minute intermission, everybody. We're going to have to end this feed, start a new feed. And then we got Brian Schulman coming on as well.
And we're still going strong.
Yeah. So Nancy, it's all yours. You take my seat.
The golden mic.
Say hello, Sandra. Say bye, Sandra.
See you later, Sandra. Thank you so much
All
for sharing. We're definitely going to do some stuff in the future with them funnels. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
So,
Bye.
like, for those of us, because the guest to my right, your left, has been on LinkedIn for a very long time, and it is always so exciting to meet people in person that you like got to know online. Obviously, we've met plenty of times in person, but oh man, it's crazy that we're still here. Because like as the years continue to pass, like I was going through this exercise with Jason and I was like, okay, I need to find people to like be a part of the stream and like some of my friends from LinkedIn. And I'm clicking on profiles. This person doesn't post anymore. That person doesn't post anymore. This person's gone. That person's gone. What has it been like for you to like see all these waves of creators come in and go, and we're still here for some reason?
And I think that's it. It's like we're still here for some reason. I wish I could give you the secret sauce. I mean, I can. Really, basically, is show up with your heart, create strong communities, be real. Jonathan was just saying how he can be easily manipulated. I'll tell you, I have been off for a while now because I had to move here to Florida to take care of my parents who are aging. So, I haven't been able to be on the platform the way I used to be. But the reality is you come back and your community's there. And there are people who didn't know you before who find you. People find you when they need you. And if you're contributing value consistently, and we talk about consistency, right? You have to be on the platform every day. You got to be. One of the things that I am famous for saying is I am consistently inconsistent. That is my
explain.
My claim to fame is that
Explain.
I'm consistently inconsistent.
Okay.
So I don't post the same day. I don't post the same time. I don't post 3 times a week every week. I don't post every day every week. I post when something moves me, when I feel inspired, when I think I can add value, or when I'm needing to hear from my community, when I have something going on in my mind that, hey, I'm never the smartest person in the room. I will never assume I'm the smartest person in the room. So then I can go to my community and say, hey, this is what I've been thinking. I mean, random thoughts with Nancy Barrows. I texted someone the other day and said, well, because now I'm living down in the South as opposed to, out on the West Coast. And so what do birds that live in the South do in the winter? Do they fly further south?
Where do they all go?
I don't know. Maybe
do they just like all
stay here.
congregate in Key West?
Right. I have no idea where the snowbirds
Why'd
go.
you do this?
I know.
I can't Google right now.
You can't Google right now.
I'm going to be frustrated for the next 15 hours.
For the next 15 hours, Jonathan, we'll be trying to answer this question. But that's something that me personally, I would put on LinkedIn. If that's something I'm thinking about, why not engage in a fun conversation? Not everything is selling. Even on Owwll, I want to get to know people. I want to share my expertise. I want to help people, but I want to know who they are. My expertise only goes so far if I'm not connected with the person that I'm helping, because it has to be customized. It has to be with that person in mind. It has to be, you listen to them, you know where their struggles are, you know where their strengths are, so that I can't cookie cutter and tell you the same thing that I would tell someone else. And so to me, it's the relationships. Yes, there's wisdom, but I could have the best wisdom in the world, but if nobody relates to me, if nobody is interested in talking to me, if I'm not very personable, or people feel intimidated by me, my knowledge doesn't mean very much.
So there's so much to dive in there. If you don't mind me, I just want to indulge a second.
You actually want to talk for a minute?
Yeah. No, please. So, like what you were sharing about that, it's what do we got?
Tell everyone we're going to resume on the new feed.
Oh, we're about to switch over, friends. So,
So tell everyone, and then we'll talk.
all right. So you guys know what to do. You got the link. You can follow us over there, and I'll give the big reveal on
What do birds from the south do in the winter?
Okay, so we're switching out. We're off.